It's a spring-like Saturday in Salem, Virginia, a beautiful day for the VHSL State Championships here in Salem, and we're proud to bring them to you here on VHSLnetwork.com. Hello again, everybody. I'm Kevin Burke, joined by Joe Deck and Tim Blank today. Ryan Hagan doing our camera work here on the VHSLnetwork.com. It's the Division I championship game, Group A, between George Wythe from Wytheville and Honaker from Russell County. Joe Deck, welcome to today's broadcast. Tell us how George Wythe and Honaker made it to the state championship here today.
Well, first let's start with the team that is the 2 seed in the West, but is granted home field status here, and the fact that they're going to wear the dark jerseys. In George Wythe from Wytheville, this is a team, 13-1, came in. They had to do a lot of traveling after, counting last week, and then this week over to Salem's not that far, but they started off a big 22-6 win in the opening round against Rural Retreat. Then they played last year's champion at this level, Clintwood, beat them 7-0, and then they upset Franklin County 27-21. Franklin County had been absolutely demolishing opponents, and that's how George Wythe gets here. So
George Wythe from the Hogaheaga district, one of my favorite district names, Region C. They're in the western section of Division I. This is the second time that there's been this west-east split the last 2 years. And the western section has been represented all 4 times. And the other team from the west section, from the Black Diamond District, the Honaker Tigers.
That's right, and the Honaker Tigers, big winners, 42-14 over Galax, 17-0 win over J.I. Burton. And then last week they had to come back against Sussex Central and won 48-40 in a game that, there was some controversy with officiating in that game, according to Sussex coach. But, Honaker's done a great job this year. They have won games, again, 13-1. They run a power eye. That has helped them get here. They like to throw and run the ball at the same time. I think that's what makes Honaker a dangerous team, is they're a balanced team.
George Wythe 13-1. You can see them taking the field. The Maroons here in their maroon uniforms, gray numbers. The seniors, there's 19 seniors on this George Wythe team, many of which this is the last game they will ever play with organized football. The Maroons 13-1, again from the Hogaheaga district in Wytheville, Virginia. They'll be the designated home team despite being the 2 seed in the western section. They'll be on the near sideline here as you're viewing. And the Honaker Tigers in their orange will step out of their locker room soon. They're on the far side. The entire town of Honaker, all 1,500 people are said to be here, and I don't doubt them. This place seats about 7,500. It is packed to the brim here in Salem.
That's true, and you mentioned both of these teams from the Western District. Salem here in the southwestern part of the state, so it's not, it's an ideal location for both of these schools. And so that's going to bring maximum capacity. Again, last year, a lot of fans showed up. This year, a lot of fans show up. It's something, even if you're from the community, not that often are you going to be able to see your town in a state championship necessarily. So when the opportunity comes, you want to be there. You want to support your community and your school. A lot of these people from Honaker, it's a very small town. A lot of them went to Honaker High School, probably all of them, if they've grown up there their whole lives. And so an opportunity here to see Honaker in the state championship with a great chance to win it here against George Wythe from Wytheville, who also has a great chance to win it. I mean, they've won a championship, but that was back in 2002 at the Division II level. Honaker also went to a state title in Division II way back when they had Heath Miller, and it didn't turn out the way they had hoped. Obviously, hoping it turns out differently today.
Honaker and George Wythe, both from the Southwest, as we've been saying, it's a totally different brand of football down here. It's an event on Friday nights. That's why you see 7,000 people here rooting their teams, because when you go up to Northern Virginia, there's about 12 teams per county. Down here, there's 1 team a county. And Honaker is a school of just 395 people. George Wythe just 430. That's why they're in the Division I rankings. So Honaker, as you said, they've never won a state championship. The last time they were in the state championship was the year 2000, and that was thanks to a guy named Heath Miller who went on to UVA and now with the Pittsburgh Steelers, still making his impression felt, as the jerseys the Tigers are wearing today were actually bought by Heath Miller. So the Tigers 13-1 defeated Sussex Central 48-40 last week. 14th trip to the postseason in school history. They are 17-13 overall in the postseason. Second state title appearance for them. It's the 3rd state title appearance for the George Wythe Maroons. The last time they were here, 2002, when they were in Division II, and they beat Buckingham County that day, 26-12. They also played in 1983 and they lost that one. 15th postseason appearance in school history for George Wythe. They are 20-13 overall. Coin toss taking place on the field. We'll step aside for a commercial break, come back for the team introductions. After this, you're listening to the VHSL State Championship on VHSLnetwork.com.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot at this.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1. For more information on how your school can join the Play On School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/S.
Oh, she's college material, that's for sure.
You think?
Oh, look at that nose. 4, maybe 5 years, housing, meal plans, fees. Oh, yeah. That nose says, a bajillion bucks in 18 years.
You get all that from a nose?
She's gonna be expensive.
Be prepared for the tuition monster. Visit Virginia529.com and see why it's the nation's largest 529 college savings.
Buy a DVD of this or any of the Virginia High School League Championships at VHSLnetwork.com.
Back in Salem, Virginia, Salem Stadium, Willis Whitefield, the host site for the Division I and Division II state championships in the state of Virginia. Thanks for joining us here on this Saturday, a spring-like Saturday in Salem. Absolutely gorgeous weather for the Division I championship between the Honaker Tigers and the George Wythe Maroons. Alongside Joe Deck, I'm Kevin Burke. Also members of our crew, Tim Blake and Brian Hagan, will join us later in the broadcast. Well, Joe, we have the Honaker Tigers. Who are some of the key players to watch for Honakers? We see them get ready to take the field here in Salem.
Well, the big thing for Honaker, I think, they're going to have to watch. Chandler Miller was injured last week. Now, he's supposed to play, so hopefully for Honaker, he's going to be able to play. We'll have to keep an eye on that to see. He's a big offensive lineman for them. Also, you have Mr. Ball, Peyton Ball, the tailback here at Honaker. He's, not just a football athlete, he's a baseball athlete as well. So they have a lot of athletes, and as you said, here they come out on the field and being greeted by the whole community. They've got the Clemson-type logo over there. Obviously, other players to watch, though. Ty Hall, he broke Heath Miller's passing records at Honaker. We mentioned that Heath Miller, an alumni here. Also, you have Blake Ray, another tailback. Those are going to be the key players for Honaker. And now we see George Wythe getting ready to come out.
The Maroons from Wytheville are 13-1. And their head coach, H.S. Singo, an alma mater, coaching his alma mater in his 4th season. He's 40-10. The Maroons tear through the banner and take the field here in Salem. As you were saying, Ty Hall and Chandler Miller for Honaker. Hall broke the school passing yard record held by Heath Miller. He needs 1 touchdown today to break the single-season passing touchdown record. He has 26 touchdowns, 1,975 yards passing. And on the flip side, George Wing, they run the wing T, so who are some guys to watch for them?
George Wythe, as you said, the wing T is dangerous for defenses, especially if you're not familiar with it. Their big tailbacks that run the ball a lot are Dominique Crockett. He has 1,300 yards, over 1,300 yards and 24 touchdowns. And on the opposite side of him, you have Trey Skeens. He's got over 1,200 yards and 14 touchdowns. And then, of course, the other fullback, Justin Snavely, is going to be joining them back there in the wing T. They've gone with Jordan Bird at the quarterback position. He's going to play a junior. He came in this year after their starter got hurt. They've decided to keep him in to keep consistency. He's played with this offense for a while. He's gotten them here. They're not going to take it away from him now here in the state championship.
Yeah, Alex Willis, the senior quarterback, was injured earlier this year. He is available to play defensive back, but he will not start today. It'll be the junior Jordan Bird. Well, the teams that take in the field here are referees. Randy Remsire is the head referee. Umpire Steve Patterson. Head linesman Andy Stockner. Line judge Jared Worley. Back judge Dave McGee. Field judge Chris Yates and Michael Edwards. George Wythe will be in the maroon jerseys, gray helmets, gray numbers for the Maroons. And Honaker won the toss. They deferred to the second half, so they will kick off here to begin the game. They're in their white and orange, the white jerseys, the orange pants. They look a lot like Clemson, don't they?
They do.
So the Honaker Tigers, I don't think there's an empty seat on the far sideline for Honaker. Small town of about 1,500. Great story on them about how they basically closed down the town to bring the entire team up here. Honaker hasn't been here since 2000. They were also in the state semifinals in 1999. Their head coach is Doug Hubbard in his 30th year at Honaker, playing or coaching for his alma mater. He's 9th in among active VHSL coaches with 186 wins. 187 would definitely be the sweetest. It'd be his first state championship. He's been involved in every state semifinal and beyond for Honaker. He actually played for the team in the state semifinal in 1977 and then coached the teams led by Heath Miller in 1999 and 2000. So we are just about ready to go. The Division I state championship here, 2012 edition. We'll let the crowd take you to kickoff. A little bit of a delay. Everybody was so amped up, we just had to wait a little bit. But as you can see, Honaker getting ready to kick off. There's a very strong wind here today. It's beautiful, but it's a spring-like day, and that includes wind, a strong wind from left to right on your screen. You can see the flags on we can see the flags on top of the stands, and the big American flag to the right end zone is blowing straight across left to right. We're oriented northwest-southeast, so Honaker kicking into the wind here to start the ball game. So now the ball is teed up. The Division I state championship just about to begin. Enjoy it, folks. We'll enjoy calling it Honaker, George Wythe. And here we go. Squibber out of bounds at the 15-yard line, so good starting field position for George Wythe.
And, you know, George Wythe does have great starting field position after that penalty. You know, I already mentioned in the pregame a little bit, this wing tee, I want to see how Honaker responds to it. It's a very difficult offense to defend against if you're not familiar with it. You know, they've had a whole week here to practice for it. Honaker also used to the turf. They've played on turf the whole season. George Wythe, not so much. So we'll see how that affects this game as well, although one of our other friends up here told us doesn't really affect the team coming onto turf as much as it affects the team that's used to turf coming off.
George Wythe actually went to West Virginia and went to Princeton, West Virginia to practice on turf. Here's the first play of the game. Snavely the handoff and across the 40-yard line. That's number 10 for George Wythe, Justin Snavely, senior fullback, 5'10", 205 pounds. He doesn't get the pizzazz that perhaps Dominic Crockett and Trey Skeens get. They're the wingbacks in this wing tee. He's sort of the heavy fullback. He's got about 600 yards and 10 touchdowns on the season.
Well, on that play, it was a great job by the offensive line, opening up a hole, allowing him to get about 6 or 7 yards on that opening carry.
Gain of 6. It's 2nd and 4. Quarterback is Jordan Bird. Hands it off to Snavely, and the Tigers stop him there. Loss of one on the play. Number 55 for Honaker. That's Dakota Stevens, the inside linebacker, 5'10", 230-pound junior, making his presence felt there. 3rd and long for George Wythe.
And actually, it was Dominique Crockett that got the handoff. They tried to go on the left side of the line, and nothing was there. Honaker's doing a good job containing the outside. That's something they're going to have to do today because of this wing tee. You can go inside and outside, so these linebackers are going to have to keep that ball on the inner part of the line to allow the middle linebackers and the interior line to stop them.
3rd and 6, back to pass, and it's intercepted. Honaker on the 40-yard line, running down the near sideline, and he's dragged down to the 10-yard line. That's Blake Ray, the offensive outside linebacker, returning it to the 8-yard line. 1st and goal, Tigers.
And that's a great job by Blake Ray on that play. He read the quarterback the whole time. Mr. Bird, Jordan Bird, was looking at his receiver, looking that way the whole time. You saw Blake Ray step up, make an excellent interception, and then had the wherewithal to keep running down the sideline and turn it into a very short field inside the 10-yard line for Honaker.
Well, we highlighted Blake Ray in the open, but as an offensive player, didn't expect him to make a big change on defense, but gets the interception. 10:47 to go in the first quarter, and Honaker, in their power I formation, comes out. 1st and goal. It's officially marked at the 9-yard line. Quarterback is senior Ty Hall, number 9 in white. Hands it off up the middle, and not much doing against the George Wythe front. The main running back for Honaker, well, there's a lot of them. They have 5 guys that have rushed between 460 and 630 yards. So you look at the stat sheet like you did and I did and say, lead rusher's only 630, what happened? Well, then you see 630, 560, 520, 400. They run the ball a lot. They've rushed for 3,500 yards as a team this season. So they're very balanced, power I formation, but here we see shotgun with Hall, the quarterback, and ball to his left. 2nd and goal at the 8 for Honaker. Read option, this is Hall and the quarterback keeper, and they'll struggle to get back to the line of scrimmage.
I'm telling you, this George Wythe defense has been very impressive here. They've had their backs against the wall to start things off. 2 plays and -1 yards for Honaker here. They got back to the line of scrimmage, and that was it on the first play. This play, the read option doesn't work as George Wythe is doing a great job penetrating this offensive line and getting into the backfield, that time bringing down the quarterback.
3rd and goal for the 9-yard line, just underway. George Wythe threw an early interception, and Honaker returned to the 9. Now can they capitalize? Power I formation, tight end to the right. Single wide receiver to either side for Honaker. Hall looking to pass, trying to find an open receiver, throws the end zone, and it's intercepted by George Wythe. So a big play by the Wythe defense, and they take the turnover right back from Honaker.
And that was Isaac Baltazar. He's a player that we mentioned in the pregame to watch for. That was a nice pick in the back of the end zone, keeping Honaker off the board. I think there, I know the young man's trying to make a big play there in Ty Hall, but maybe should have just tried to find a more open receiver, try to tuck it down and keep it in field goal range. But unfortunately, he forced it in there, and a great job by Baltazar getting the interception.
So 1st and 10 at the 20, Wythe trying to come back quickly around the near side. He's got some room. This is number 7 for George Wythe. That's Trey Skeens around the right side. Gets across midfield into Honaker territory. Just to mention Baltazar, he had the game-clinching interception last week with about 2 minutes to go against Franklin. That's his 8th pick of the year. Guy finds the right place at the right time.
He does. He's a very talented defensive back. But on this play, Trey Skeens, another tailback we mentioned, another 1,000-yard rusher here at George Wythe. That time he got to the outside, and he had a wall to block for him. I'm telling you, Honaker cannot allow these running backs to get to the 2nd and 3rd levels before they run into resistance.
Stepped out at the 38, and this is now Justin Snavely into Honaker territory, powering his way to the 46-yard line. Justin Snavely, the fullback, 5'10", 205 pounds. And on 2 plays, George Wythe has moved the ball from the 20-yard line all the way down to the Honaker 45.
Yeah, and this is what Honaker does not need. They do not want this offensive line and these backs to start feeling it and getting into a rhythm. That time they went to the outside on 1st down. They cut it back to the inside, and there was the defensive line was wide open. This offensive line for George Wythe definitely, I would say, outsizes them maybe, and we'll have to see here if that keeps going this way.
1st and 10 at the 45. The handoff is to Dominique Crockett. Around the far side of the 40-yard line, has the edge. Forced out of bounds near another 1st down. He'll be marked just short at the 35.5-yard line. So there's Crockett, there's Trey Skeens, and there's Justin Snavely within the first 3 plays. That's what George Wythe has been doing all season.
And that was a great job by Snavely sealing the outside there. A linebacker was coming in. He blocked him, got him open on that left far sideline for us, and he was able to get around and make it a 2nd and short.
So 2nd and 1 for George Wythe. 8:55 to go in the first quarter. No score in the Division I championship. This is Skeens around the near end. makes a couple man miss, has the first down, and he's still going, jumped off a tackler, and is down at the 26-yard line. That's one of those tackles where he just rolled right off of him, and a gain of about 10 gives George Wythe the first down.
What we're seeing here out of George Wythe is they're running to every side of the field, and that's something in this wing tee that you're able to do, and it makes it extremely dangerous. Honaker's got to get some penetration. On that first drive, they did a good job containing the outside. This drive already, 3 plays. It's been huge gains for George Wythe on each of these plays to the outside.
This drive started their own 24 plays ago. Hand off to Snavely up the middle. Huge hole again to the 15 to the 10. Ball pops free. Who has it near the 5-yard line? George Wythe managed to hold on to it. There was 2 Tigers down there and 1 Maroon. That's number 27, number 24, Andrew Storms. Great place, right time for the senior wide receiver.
Yeah, Andrew Storms having to be in the right place at the right time. But, I mentioned that the Honaker's going to have to contain on the outsides if they want to stop this wing tee. That doesn't mean that you can allow the middle to be wide open, which George Wythe has done a good job opening up that middle. Snavely had another solid carry to get them inside the 5, and luckily, the ball did pop out, but luckily for George Wythe, they're able to recover.
First and goal at the 4. This is Skeens around the near end, has the corner, looking for the pylon, dragged down short. Trey Skeens, just a sophomore, 6 foot, 180 pounds. So it seems like Skeens is to the near side, Crockett to the far side, and Snavely up the middle. Good luck trying to stop any of them. Crockett, 1330, 1,330 yards. Skeens has 1,250, and then we also mentioned Snavely, who's got about 650, 700 yards.
But that time, Honaker did a great job of drawing the play to the sideline, keeping their containment, not allowing him to get around the corner and outside on him.
Second and goal from the 3. Handoff, Snavely, end zone, touchdown, George Wythe.
And the most frustrating part of that play for Honaker is they were in the right place. They were hitting him. Snavely just wasn't going down. He's a big boy, and he pushed his way into the end zone. That was all will there from Justin Snavely.
So after an interception on their first drive, George Wythe gets an interception in the end zone and marches down 80 yards with relative ease on the Honaker defense. So now the extra point attempt for George Wythe. There's the snap, it's good, the hold is good, and the kick is good. 7:30 to go, first quarter. 7-0 George Wythe. We'll step aside here on the VHSL network.
Oh, she's college material, that's for sure.
You think?
Oh, look at that nose. 4, maybe 5 years, housing, meal plans, fees. Oh, yeah. That nose says, a bajillion bucks in 18 years.
You get all that from a nose?
She's gonna be expensive.
Be prepared for the tuition monster. Visit Virginia529.com and see why it's the nation's largest 529 college savings plan.
Oh my, that chin has grad school written all over it.
Back in Salem, the Division I Group A championship here in the VHSL. Alongside Joe Deck, I'm Kevin Burke. George Wythe with a 3-yard touchdown run from Justin Snavely strikes first. It's 7-0 Maroons on top of Honaker. And after an early exchange of turnovers, George Wythe ran its wing tee to perfection, Joe Deck.
That's right, and I think the first time on that first drive, what we saw was George Wythe go to the outside on that, I believe it was a second down play. Snavely was not able to seal the block. Honaker drops him for a loss that put them in a situation where they felt they had to pass the ball, and it turned into an interception. This time, it was solid runs on every play. I don't think, other than the one play where it was first and goal to 3, I don't think Honaker stopped him for less than a yard on any play on that drive. I mean, they were huge, huge runs for George Wythe.
Well, the ball flew off the tee, and the kicker is actually Andrew Storms, who saved that last drive because there was a fumble at the 5, and Storms picked it up. So George Wythe the kick, the rhythmic beat from the band here on the near side from the Maroons. There's the run up at the kick. With the wind behind his back, Storms booms it out of the back of the end zone. This wind is whipping left to right. That's going to be a key if this is a close game come the second half, who has the win in the fourth quarter. But we'll get to that if it matters.
That's true. I think now Honaker's going to have a little more room. There's not as much pressure. I'm telling you, getting field position down there inside the 10-yard line is great. And no coach is going to, say, I don't want that. But with that comes, in that situation, it was third down. They hadn't really moved the ball on first and second down. You're thinking, I got to get 6 here. I've got great field position here. They're back at their own 20. They've got more room. They can run a regular offense here, get work at what they want to for the long term in the game plan here. And we'll see what that brings here.
Senior quarterback Ty Hall, under center, hands it off to the right side, and minimal gain of about 2. Ball is loose, picked up by George Wythe, and it's out of the 10-yard line. It's ruled a fumble. 2 turnovers for Honaker in 2 possessions. It looked like the play was dead. The whistle never blew, and George Wythe creates a turnover.
Yeah, I will say the whistle never blew. We did not hear a whistle up here, so that's a heads-up play by George Wythe. If you don't hear the whistle blow, keep playing. That great fumble recovery there by number 6, Joseph Owens. And they've got the ball at the 10-yard line. Honaker needs to stop them here, and they need to get the offense going. You do not want to fall behind 2 scores here to this team that primarily runs the ball.
1st and 10, handoff Crockett, near side, running towards the sideline, and he'll get tossed out at the 5. That's number 12 for Honaker, Blake Ray making the tackle. He had the interception earlier in the game.
And yeah, Skeens there trying to get on the right side. I'm telling you, I think for George Wythe, they've had more success on that far sideline on the left side. It seems Honaker's loading up this right side. They're determined to stop Skeens, but the middle and the left side on these past 2 drives have been wide open. We'll see if George Wythe goes back to that.
Beg your pardon, that was Trey Skeens, the sophomore, whose dad is actually the principal of George Wythe High School. 2nd and goal from the 5. This is now Crockett up the middle and wrestled down at the 3-yard line. Good penetration there from the Honaker Tigers defense. Big stop here on 3rd down if they can get it.
No, absolutely. And this is Honaker holding George Wythe to a field goal here would be brilliant if you're the Honaker defense. I mean, you had them starting at the 10-yard line. Now they are down to the 5 here, and it's 3rd and goal. And if you're George Wythe, you may be thinking 4-down territory here this close to the end zone, but you are up 7-0 already. We saw Storms. He's got a leg. And Honaker here, that was a great job, though, plugging up the middle, not allowing Crockett to get up the middle. We've seen him go far and outside every time.
3rd and goal from the 5. Skeens gets the ball, cuts it up at the 5, and the Tiger defense there to stop him. Number 55 for Honaker, Dakota Stevens, in on the tackle, the inside linebacker.
I'm telling you, this was a very impressive drive for Honaker's defense. I thought this was going to be, maybe 1, maybe 2 plays for George Wythe here after seeing that last drive, but this defense has responded. I'm sure they had a talking to from the defensive coordinator when they were over there on the sideline on that last drive. And, this is big. If they hold them to a field goal.
Field goal attempt, and nothing's guaranteed in high school football. So the kicker for George Wythe is Andrew Storm, senior, 6'1", 155 pounds. They mark it at the 14. So this will be a 24-yard attempt from the near hash with the wind at his back. Good snap, good hold. The kick is good, and it splits the upright. So 5:44 to go in the 1st quarter. George Wythe turns 2 turnovers into 10 points. They're on top of Honaker, 10-0. Back after this on the VHSL network.
Buy a DVD of this or any of the Virginia High School League championships at VHSLnetwork.com.
Back here in Salem, George Wythe 10, Honaker nothing, 5:44 to go in the 1st quarter. Honaker threw an interception in the end zone and then fumbled on their first play of their 2nd drive. So Honaker's had the ball for 4 plays. They've gone 0 yards, and they have 2 turnovers. George Wythe has turned those in to 10 points. But a big stop for Honaker, giving the ball to George Wythe on the 10, and they force a field goal.
That's right, and I'll talk more about this after this kickoff.
Storms booms it again. Wind at his back. This is into the end zone again. My goodness. I don't know if that's all wind aided, but heck of a kick by Storms. But Honaker, great drive on defense.
Yeah, like you said, giving up the ball at the 10-yard line and then stopping them, holding them to a field goal, not allowing the touchdown. And not to mention, I think that speaks volumes here about Honaker. George Wythe does not run a different offense when they get near the end zone than they do when they're at their own 2-yard line. They run that wing tee, and they're going to run it from start to finish today. Honaker did a great job stopping the run, which was a problem last time. They gave up 80 yards on that 2nd drive. The big thing for Honaker now is hold on to the ball. No more turnovers. You've already turned it over twice here on your first 2 possessions.
Power eye from the 20-yard line. Handoff near side. And a big hole. This is number 12 for Honaker. Blake Ray across the 50 to the 40 and dragged out at the 36-yard line. Blake Gray has been all over the field for Honaker. Had the interception earlier, and now a big run to set up the Tigers in maroon territory.
That was a nice run by Blake Gray. He saw the hole, and he ran hard all the way through it. I'm telling you, George Wythe, we haven't seen their defense on the field much, so we still don't know how this game's going to go defensively. They made a nice play with Baltazar in the end zone getting the interception, and then a heads-up play there by their defensive back scooping up the fumble and getting them the ball at their own 10. But here, I mean, that's a solid run and a great job of this offensive line at Honaker.
Gain of 44 on the play. Now Hall's going to look to pass. Screen out, complete to number 1, Jordan Haas. And he's near a first down at the 26-yard line. And these two teams are very even statistically. They both score about 36, 37 a game. They both give up about 13 a game. And Honaker, they don't usually play games like 48-40 like they did last week against Sussex. They did that out of necessity because they were down 26-7 at halftime on their own turf, so they're used to coming back. This 10-0 lead probably doesn't faze them.
That's probably true, and that was a great job by Hess on the far sideline, making a move on Baltazar, making him miss, because this is a very skilled defensive back from George Wythe. 2nd and 1
from the 27. Handoff to Ray. First down at the 24-yard line. Chains move for Honaker. 4:51 to go first quarter. Clock stops as the chains move.
And that's not a lot of yards there on that play, but it's enough. It gets the first down, gets you a new fresh set of downs here, and that's what Honaker's got to focus on. You're not going to get all 10 points back on one play. You don't have to score quick. You just have to score this drive. And if that means picking up 3-4 yards a play, then that means picking up 3-4 yards a play.
And if anything, gaining confidence and consistency after having 2 turnovers on your first 2 drives. 1st and 10 for the 24 for the Tigers. Hall, the quarterback, wanted a quick screen, didn't have it. Now he's going to run. Far sideline, makes a man miss, and then wrestled down. Gain of 1 on the play. As Hall, who has some skills with his feet, he has 26 passing touchdowns this season. He needs 1 to pass Heath Miller's single-season school record, and he also has 9 touchdowns on the ground for the senior 5'9" Ty Hall.
But that was a great job by Ty Hall on that play. You mentioned he was looking for the screen over here. Wasn't there. He didn't try to force it. That's a great job. That's exactly what Honaker needed in that situation. It's a 1-yard gain, but a 1-yard gain is a lot better than a sack or an interception in your 3rd turnover of the game. And if that screen pass is picked off, we're talking about a 17-0 lead for the Maroons.
Gain of 1 at 2nd and 9. I formation. And the handoff is fake. Now they're going to pitch it out. This is ball. Trouble in the backfield. It's hunned down by the Maroons. That was the option.
That was a dangerous pitch there because Snavely on George Wythe was all over it, almost intercepted the pitch. However, Honaker gets away and will keep the ball. It's now 3rd and long, though. George Wythe was not fooled there. They had everybody on that side, and that's the thing you got to do when you're watching the option. Everybody has a man. You don't have 3 defensive linemen on the quarterback and 2 on the fullback, and then nobody's on the pitch man. That time, everybody had the man. The pitch man was covered. The quarterback was covered. The fullback, if they had given it off to him, was covered. Great job defensively by George Wythe.
So now Honaker comes out in the shotgun. They threw an interception the last time they were in this formation. 3rd and 13. Hall looking, trying to get out of pressure and can't. Brought down by George Wythe in the backfield.
And there was nothing there for Ty Hall. I mean, he looked. You know, looking downfield, it's harder for our folks to see at home maybe, but that play, everyone was covered. You have Baltazar on the far side. You also have, for George Wythe, number 4, Jalen France on the field with great coverage. This brings up a 4th down, and in high school football, you're in no man's land here.
Can't punt it because if it goes to the end zone, it's an 8-yard gain. You don't want to try and kick a field goal, especially into the wind. This is 45 yards, so 4th and 14. Honaker and head coach Doug Hubbard sends the offense out. That sack, by the way, for George Wythe was by Ethan Dean, the sophomore. Snap back to Hall, rolling right, throwing back across his body, and it's caught at the 5-yard line and into the end zone. Touchdown, Honaker, Peyton Ball.
That was a great pass by Tyler Hall. He rolled out to his right, saw his receiver Ball getting open, passed the defensive back and the safety, and a great job throwing it up there to him and hauling it in. And the shot actually knocked him into the end zone, I believe. But, I mean, what a play by Tyler Hall. He saw the blitz coming on that right side. So he rolls out to, his left side. So he rolls out to his right, throws across his body, which is normally a dangerous pass. But his man was behind the defensive backs, and a great pass by Ty Hall into the end zone to Peyton Ball.
So now the extra point attempt, low snap, and a straight-on attempt is booted through for Honaker. How about that? Ty Hall breaks Heath Miller's single-season touchdown record with his 27th touchdown pass to put Honaker on the board on 4th and 14. We'll step aside, 2:09 to go first quarter. 10-7 George Wythe. You're in the VHSL Division I State Championship.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
Honaker on the board here in the VHSL Division I State Championship. George Wythe still on top, though. It's 10-7 Maroons, but a great play by Honaker to get on the board.
Absolutely, and we talked about it up here in the press box during the break, the smash route there that they ran. The George Wythe defense is running the cover two, so the safeties have to respect the receivers when they go on that corner routes toward the corners of the field. That leaves the middle wide open. Great job connecting with the tailback there and Ball. And that's the reason they're now only down 3 points. And now, if they can stop George Wythe defensively, they've got a chance to take the lead.
It's going to be a well ball game, isn't it? 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. This one is received at the 8-yard line by George Wythe. Honaker trying to pursue, and they bring down Reed Kegley at the 21-yard line. So 10-7 our score. George Wythe on top with 2:01 to go in the first quarter. He's Joe Deck. I'm Kevin Burke. Thanks so much for joining us on the VHSL Network. Also joined by Tim Blank and Ryan Hagan here in Salem. We'll have the Division II Championship coming up at 4:30 between Essex and Goochland. So make sure to stick around for that. And also here on the VHSL Network, we have Division III going on right now up in Lynchburg. And also Division V is available here. It's on ESPN3 and on Comcast Sportsnet in Virginia up in Charlottesville. So George Wythe, their 4th possession of the ball game. Wing T set up. Hand off to Crockett. Far sideline, cuts it up, and brought down at the 24-yard line. And now you can see Honaker starting to get a little bit of a feel for the wing T.
They are. However, we say that they're getting a feel for it, but that's a almost 5-yard gain there by Crockett on the first play of the game. So if you're George Wythe, by all means, 5 yards a carry is great. You're going to get first downs every other play. So Honaker did a good job. They didn't allow the big play, which was a problem on the second drive. So if they can keep this contained, don't allow any big plays, and eventually force George Wythe into some passing downs, this defense will be fine.
2nd and 7. Hand off to Snavely up the middle, and he's undercut. Falls forward for a gain of 2, but Snavely looked like he had a hole and then tripped over a Honaker defender, which was already on the ground.
And that's a great play by Honaker. They cut the offensive line down, got rid of his blockers, and the other players, as you said, he ended up getting tripped up by a defensive lineman, but had he not gotten tripped up, there was another linebacker for Honaker waiting for him.
Momentum on the Honaker sideline. George Wythe really needs a first down here in the final minute of the first quarter. They had everything going for him, and they gave up the big touchdown on 4th and 14. 3rd and 5 for the 27 for the Maroons. Handoff, schemes, trying to go around. He's running east-west instead of north-south, but still manages to get the first down at the 35-yard line. However, there is a flag on the play, and the first time we get to see our head referee today, and Randy Ramsey.
And that's going to be a block in the back, I believe. Yes, it is the call on Dominique Crockett. He came back. His tailback was looking for the corner. He sealed the corner. Unfortunately, he sealed it with a block in the back, and that's going to back him up. He had the first down, had the flag not flown, but a great job there by Honaker continuing to spread out. I thought maybe Skeens was going to have the speed to get around because the linebackers that were coming in to stop Skeens were picked up by offensive linemen and the fullback Snavely. So a great job there by George Wythe on the blocks. Unfortunately, a last-second block in the back to really spring the play resulted in a 10-yard penalty, and it'll bring up a 3rd and long now, and maybe force George Wythe to have to pass.
3rd and 15 from the 16. Their only pass today is an interception. Quarterback Jordan Bird looking, and he'll be thrown for a sack inside the 10-yard line. Honaker got there with number 18, Peyton Ball. Bunch of guys play both ways, and they're making big plays for Honaker.
Peyton Ball, obviously player of the game right now for Honaker. It's only the first quarter, but he's player of the quarter so far. That's had the big touchdown catch and then a huge sack there on 3rd and long. And as you said, George Wythe's only pass was intercepted. Now, both times they've attempted a pass, it's an interception and a sack. So this Honaker defense, if they can force them into 3rd and longs, force this George Wythe team to pass, that's how you stop them.
Final play of the first quarter is Storms boots it away, has the wind at his back, which pushes the ball a little bit, hits at the 40, spins sideways, takes a Maroons bounce to the Honaker 45. So a punt of 35 yards ends the first quarter. Boy, that was a great first quarter, wasn't it? 10-7, George Wythe on top. 1 quarter down, 3 to go here in the VHSL Division I State Championship. Back after this timeout. You're listening to the VHSL State Championship on VHSLnetwork.com.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1.
For more information on how your school can join the Play On School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Oh, she's college material, that's for sure.
You think?
Oh, look at that nose. 4, maybe 5 years, housing, meal plans, fees. Oh, yeah. That nose says, a bajillion bucks in 18 years.
You get all that from a nose?
She's gonna be expensive.
Be prepared for the tuition monster. Visit Virginia529.com and see why it's the nation's largest 529 college savings plan.
Oh my, that chin has grad school written all over it.
Start of the second quarter here in Salem, the Division I State Championship game. It's George Wythe 10, Honaker 7. We saw just about everything in the first quarter. Alongside Joe Deck, I'm Kevin Burke. Thanks for joining us on VHSLnetwork.com. George Wythe turned the ball over on its first drive. An interception put Honaker at the 9-yard line. But then the Tigers threw an interception in the end zone. George Wythe went 80 yards down the field, just scored, capped off by a Snavely touchdown. Honaker fumbled on the next play, and George Wythe got a field goal, but then Honaker went right down the field again to make it 10-7 George Wythe. Wythe just punted with the wind, which was a key. At the end of the first quarter, Honaker now with the wind at its back. 1st and 10 from the 45. They'll hand it off to Ball around the right side, pushing defenders forward down to about the 41-yard line. What were your impressions of the first quarter, Joe Deck?
Well, there in the first quarter, I thought, after the first 3 drives, I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to have a turnover contest here between these two teams. Both teams had interceptions on their first drives of the game, and then, Honaker fumbled the ball, setting up George Wythe with nice field position, but Honaker's defense rose to the occasion, held him to a field goal, which I think is going to be key, especially here in a 10-7 game. And like you said, it set up a touchdown for Honaker then on a 4th and 14. What a 4th down conversion to get there for the touchdown to Ball. But I think another big thing was Honaker has great field position after not allowing a single first down on that last drive from George Wythe. This Honaker defense is starting to set in and get used to that wing T.
2nd and 6 from the 41. They'll hand it off to Cody Lester. Has a huge hole across the 30. First down, Honaker.
And that's a great run. The middle of the field was wide open for Lester there, and he has a nice run to really set this Honaker offense up inside the 30-yard line, put them in great field position here. Now George Wythe, the team that was on fire there in the first quarter for the first part, has now here in the late first quarter, early second quarter, the defense is on their heels a little bit. They can't really stop them.
It's a gain of 15 for Lester. They just come in all sorts of ways. Staging out running backs for Honaker. 1st and 10 from the 26. This is Lester again, and this time he's hit immediately by number 31, Aaron Phillips for George Wythe.
That was a great job by Phillips coming up and hitting him low, bringing him down immediately. A 1-yard gain. That's exactly what this George Wythe defense needed there to slow down this Honaker offense a little bit. 1-yard gain. Now here on 2nd and long, it's still any play is in the playbook here for Honaker. And if you're George Wythe, I think you got to watch the run. They've gone to the run primarily on the pass play. They fooled you a little bit on that touchdown pass, but other than that, they haven't been very successful on the pass.
2nd and 9 for Honaker in the white and orange. They'll hand it off. This is Lester again across the 20 and inside the red zone. Short of the first down, it'll bring up a 3rd down for Honaker.
And that's exactly what you wanted if you're Honaker. This sets it up in a 3rd and short. Every play in the playbook is still usable. George Wythe, they've really got to stop them here on these 2nd and 1st down plays, not allow them to get so many yards and put them in these 3rd and short situations. This is when defenses fail a lot on the 3rd down conversion rate that, so many people watch, especially at the college and pro level. It's important here in the high school level as well. You need to keep them in 3rd and longs. Don't let them get 3rd and 2s here because, again, this running attack has been powerful, especially out of the power I. It's a lot of blockers to deal with.
3rd and 2 from the 18. Hall hands it off to Lester. Pushing towards the first down marker. I don't know if he got it. The Maroon defense was there to stand them up. George Wythe in those maroon jerseys from Wytheville. And he is short. 4th and 1. Heck, they went on 4th and 14. You got to go here on 4th and 1, right?
Yeah, the wind is at their back, which is a different scenario here. They're inside the 20 now. But Honaker's going to go ahead and keep the offense out here. Again, here at the high school level, the big thing is what is the range for your kicker? Unlike in college and pros, you don't necessarily get to pick and recruit your kicker. So finding one that can kick it from inside the 20-yard line is not a guarantee, especially here at the high school level. That brings up a 4th and short. You might as well go for it. You're going for the lead. You're in the state championship.
4th and 1. Lester the handoff. He stops in the backfield. The Maroons push him back. We'll see where they spot it. But it doesn't look like he got anything. And he is stopped. George Wythe takes over on downs.
That's a great play by George Wythe's defense. They stopped him in the behind the line of scrimmage even to get the ball back. And that's a huge stand for George Wythe. I mean, you're looking at possibly losing the lead here after really being in control for the first part of this game and having the tables turned on you. But they respond, stop Honaker. I thought the interesting thing there from Honaker was they went right up the middle again after being stopped on 3rd and short. But, you know, I know this coach has a lot of faith in his offensive line, and why wouldn't he? He's got tons of rushers, as you said, over 500 yards.
There's Snavely on the first down carry for George Wythe. Not much doing as we approach 8.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Both teams with their full allotments of timeouts. As you can see, the yellow dots or yellow dashes underneath the team names. George Wythe 10, Honaker 7. Second quarter here at Salem Stadium, which next Friday will host the Stag Bowl, which is why you can see the NCAA logo at about the 25-yard line on each side. It's also painted on the hill. Kind of quick turnaround from state championships to the Division III championship.
That's the advantage of a turf field, though. It's easy to maintain.
So George Wythe takes a timeout. We'll take it with them. 8:07 to go second quarter. Maroons 10, Tigers 7. And you're listening to the VHSL State Championships on VHSLnetwork.com.
Buy a DVD of this or any of the Virginia High School League Championships at VHSLnetwork.com.
.807 to go second quarter here in Salem. It's the home of the Salem Spartans during the regular season. Up in AA Division IV, they lost on this field last week to Heritage out of Lynchburg, who's now playing up in Liberty, or in Lynchburg, playing in their home city. It's 10-7, George Wythe of the Division I State Championship. Maroons with the ball, moving right to left, 2nd and 9 after a timeout. And the handoff goes to Trey Skeens, the sophomore, scoots across the 20, and he'll set up a 3rd and medium for George Wythe in those maroon-clad uniforms out of Wytheville, Virginia. 13-1 on the year. They had one heck of a path to the championship. They beat Franklin on the road. Franklin, way out in the eastern part of the state. They beat them 27-21 last week. Honaker in the white and orange from Honaker in northern Russell County. And they are from the Black Diamond District. They beat Sussex 48-40 last week after trailing 26-7 at halftime.
I think the interesting thing to note on that last play was Wytheville, from George Wythe, ran that reverse a little bit there out of the wing tee. And this is going to be a penalty. Will back them up, but it'll be interesting to see if they go to that again. That time, though, Honaker was disciplined. I think the one disadvantage running the wing tee, though, on that is you ran the ball, so everybody on that side of the field's already coming that way, and then you try to reverse it. He's running into a wall of white jerseys from Honaker, and I think he ended up getting 3 yards on that play, and now the false start will back him up, make it 3rd and about 11, but again, if you're Honaker, this is what you want. 3rd and 11s. Force George Wythe to pass the ball.
Yeah, George Wythe is 0 for 2 or 0 for 1 passing. The other time they were sacked. 3rd and 11 from the 17-yard line for George Wythe. They'll run the wing tee to Snavely up the middle, and he's hitting the backfield. Big stop there from Honaker, forcing a punt.
An interesting decision there. They decided to try to run the wing tee again on 3rd and long, maybe catch Honaker napping, expecting just the pass and not paying attention to the run game, but a great job by the defensive line getting off their blocks and wrapping up Snavely immediately at the line of scrimmage to force a punt. And now we'll get to see the full leg of Storms here as he's kicking into the wind this quarter.
Very brisk wind moving left to right across your screen towards the south end zone. George Wythe kicking towards the north. And the punt is a low wobbler. Hits to the 48 and spins right on the 0 of the 50-yard line. And it'll stay in George Wythe territory down to the 49. So Honaker takes over 1st and 10. The Tigers have had 2 turnovers today. They've had a touchdown and they've had a turnover on downs. So we've seen their offense sort of pick it up, but then they sort of have stopped and been stalled at the 20-yard line twice, and they got a big play on 4th and 14 for their only touchdown.
The worst thing for Honaker has been good field position so far, but every drive they've had good field position, they haven't put it in the end zone. Their one touchdown was when they had a long ways to go. And I tell you what impressed me the most from Storms there. We saw him kicking high in the air when he had the wind. That time he had the wherewithal to kick it low, a line drive to avoid as much wind as possible.
1st and 10 for the 49. Hall throwing out, and this one is nearly intercepted. Looking for his receiver on the quick slant. He was looking for Randy Horton, the wide receiver, and it was nearly picked off. Hall's already thrown an interception in the end zone by Isaac Hollywood Baltazar.
Yeah, that time he just led his receiver a little too far on the slant route, and it did almost result in an interception. These defensive backs giving that receiver some cushion. They don't want to get burnt again like they did on that 4th and long that resulted in the Honaker touchdown.
Maybe a little bit affecting it is now it's the first time Honaker's had the ball with the wind at their back. 2nd and 10. 2 wide receivers to the top. They'll fake the pitch and hand it off to Lester, and he'll be stood up. And after, it's really interesting. Both these teams, it sort of seemed like everybody was a little nervous. Everybody was a little tight to begin with, and the offenses were flying up and down the field, turning the ball over, scoring points, and now the defenses have seen what they're going to be going against, and everything's sort of shriveled up a little bit, and it's a lot tougher to get yardage than it was in the first quarter.
That's very true. I mean, that time the run up the middle had nowhere to go. George Wythe has done a great job plugging up the middle ever since that one drive where Honaker was able to move it down and eventually set up a touchdown on a 4th and 14. I think that's going to be key. You don't want this running game to get going. Neither team has passed the ball fairly well today, and that's partly due to the wind.
George Wythe player jumped off sides. This would be 3rd and 9. It's a quick moving half. 5:48 to go in the second quarter. It happens when both teams run the ball. Here's the offsides on George Wythe. So 3rd and 9 from the 48 becomes 3rd and 4 from the 43-yard line. So much more manageable for the Tigers, and maybe they can run it here, even though they have a good passer in Ty Hall.
That's true. And here on 3rd and 3, or 3rd and 4, depending on your outlook here, we've seen Ty Hall try to take it down and run. He's had some success this season on the ground as well, so that's another option if nobody's open and he's able to get some room to run. And now we're going to see a timeout from Honaker.
So Doug Hubbard, in his 30th year at Honaker, has a pretty good idea what he's doing, trying to coach his team to the school's first state championship. They trailed 10-7 to George Wythe. Timeout on the field. We'll take it with them. 5:36 to go, second quarter, and you're watching the VHSL Division I State Championship on VHSLNetwork.com.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
5:36 to go, second quarter. George Wythe 10, Honaker 7 in the Division I State Championship. Both teams 13-1. George Wythe looking for their second state championship. They won one back in 2002, and they beat Buckingham County. Honaker's never won the state championship. They lost to King William back in 2000. 3rd and 4 after the timeout. Both teams have 2 timeouts remaining. As you can see on our scoreboard at the bottom of the screen. Thanks so much for joining us here for the VHSL State Championships. Shotgun formation for the Tigers. 4 wide receivers, 2 to each side. Snap back to Hall, looking left, and now he's going to run. Huge hole in the middle, has the first down, and he's stopped at the 36, but great recognition there by Hall to find the empty zone, which actually ended up being his empty zone.
That's true, and he had a great scramble there. I'm not sure if that was designed that way or not. He had a receiver open, but obviously he hadn't quite finished running his route yet, as he hadn't even turned around to look out there in the flat. Would have been good enough for a first down on the out route on the far sideline, but he decided to pull it down and run, got a great first down, and I think that's why you saw Coach Hubbard call that timeout. That was an important third down. They needed to convert that third down to keep this drive going and have a chance at taking the lead here against George Wythe.
Clock ticking, 5:15 to go, second quarter. Yes, we've played 40 minutes, and we're halfway through the second quarter. High formation for the Tigers, 1st and 10 from the 37. Hall's going to pass, rolling to his left, looking deep, and it is caught at the 30 by number 27 for Honaker, Austin Smith, the tailback out of the backfield, and he's knocked down at the 28.
And that time, I mentioned on the last play, if that had been the route the receiver had been running out there on the out route, he would have been wide open. That time, he was covered, but he had enough room, and it was a great pass by Ty Hall, throwing it to where only his receiver is going to be able to bring that in on the far sideline. A great throw on the out route. And I tell you, that's the hard thing, especially at this high school level. You see so many quarterbacks try to throw that route, and then defenders being able to jump the route and intercept it because it's underthrown or thrown behind a little bit. Ty Hall on a very dangerous pass converts, sets him up in a 2nd and short situation.
2nd and 2 to be exact. 8-yard gain on first down. And Hall hands it off up the middle. This is Ball, who caught the first touchdown on 4th and 14. It ended up being a 23-yard touchdown pass. And Ball is across the first down marker. 1st and 10, Honaker at the 23.
And that's a solid run up the middle after setting it up on the pass. I think that's the big thing for George Wythe they're having to be careful about. When Honaker's able to throw the ball, okay, we got to take some guys out of the box to respect the passing game. Well, then they're going to run it up the middle on you. So what do? We even saw the quarterback take off and scramble on a pass play. So Honaker has so many weapons on offense that George Wythe is going to have to deal with.
Honaker in the white. Hall pumps to the left. Now rolling, and he throws, and it's incomplete. Little bit of miscommunication between his receiver, Jordan Hess. He was looking for the fake screen and had a deep route going to the end zone, but it was well covered by George Wythe.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of miscommunication, as you said. Hall wanted him to fake the screen and then burn his linebacker, which was Snavely, on him. However, Hess did not get on the same page there and ended up in an overthrow, but a great job by Ty Hall. Throw it where your receiver is. If you overthrow him there, it's 2nd and 10. No harm, no foul. You don't get sacked. You don't turn the ball over. Because if he had thrown that screen, I think Snavely was all over it. He was ready for the screen if they went there.
So now 2nd and 10. This is where Honaker has been stopped on their last 3 drives until that 4th down conversion 2 drives ago. 2nd and 10 from the 23, 3:48 to go in the second. Power I for the Tigers, and the handoff to Ball to the 20. Forces his way inside the 20-yard line. Peyton Ball, the 6'2", 174-pound senior. A lot of these guys on Honaker are seniors playing their last game, and most of them are not moving on to the college ranks. We haven't heard anything from George Wythe's Division I commit Hardy Lester at the tight end. Mainly because George Wythe hasn't tried to pass that much today, but Honaker trying to take the lead. They're down 10-7. And we're down 10-0 after turning the ball over on their first 2 possessions. 3rd and 7 from the 20. Shotgun for the Tigers. 3 to the top. Snap to Hall. Rolling left. Looking for a receiver. Throws, and it's overthrown. Looking for Hess on a hitch route. And that'll bring up 4th down.
And I mentioned for Honaker's defense, you need George Wythe to be in these 3rd and longs. These 3rd and 5, you want it to be longer than 3rd and 5. Nothing shorter than that is ideal. For George Wythe, that time they forced a 3rd and 7, made Honaker have to pass. They can move the defensive backs back, have some ground coverage. And that time, Hall unable to connect. Now they're going to have to line up for a field goal here on a 4th down.
The kicker is Mackenzie Phillips, 5'11" junior. Kicks straight away. You don't usually see that nowadays. 37-yard attempt. The kick is up, a great boot, and it's good. A 37-yard field goal ties the game at 10. What a boot from Phillips. Had the wind at his back, but that was good without the wind.
That's true. He crushed that kick to tie the game.
10-10 with 2:51 to go in the first half. Back after this on the VHSL network.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1.
For more information on how your school can join the Play On School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Great game here in Salem, 10-10 tied, 2:51 to go in the second quarter. This weather is absolutely unbelievable. 60s was the forecast today. Packed house, great atmosphere. The only difficulty with the weather is the wind, but both teams have used that to their advantage today. And heck, it beats last year when it was, 40s and cold and rainy the whole time?
Oh, yeah, it was freezing here last year, that's for sure. But this year, as you said, great weather. Great kick by the kicker there. We were impressed. We were talking about that during the break, and he just drills this kick into the end zone.
He drilled that one, too. The wind moving from left to right, from the north to the south here in Salem. And every kick towards that end has been a touchback, whereas every kick going the other way has been stopped at about the 10. So now if you're George Wythe, you had a 10-0 lead. You were getting turnovers. And now Honaker's tied you up at 10. You got 2:51 to go until halftime.
The big thing here for George Wythe is going to be, can they get this running game going again out of the wing tee? Honaker has responded and started to stop them. I think maybe if you're George Wythe, you might have to throw on first or second down occasionally, not get yourself in these third and longs.
They're going to hand it off to Crockett. Around the near sideline, stopped at the 23 and then driven into the ground by number 16 for Honaker. That's Shea Bunn, the outside linebacker.
And that's a great job. They held him to a 3-yard gain there. They didn't allow Crockett to get to the outside and find a hole. I mean, he was able to get to the outside kind of, but, he would have had to go in between the receiver and a lineman, and then there was a linebacker waiting for him there. It's a great job. Even the secondary is coming in here for Honaker, being ready to stop the run early on. And I think that's going to be a key. I mentioned throw it on first or second down. This secondary for Honaker's coming up on the run now. They're expecting nothing but run. If you go deep on him, you might be able to burn him deep.
You called it when it happened. That turning point of the game is when they held him to a field goal inside the 10. And again, this time Snavely stuck up. No gain. Might have lost a couple yards, but that key was the turnover where George Wythe got the ball on the 10-yard line. They held him to a field goal, and then Honaker went right down the field and scored.
Well, absolutely, and since then, it's been really hard for this team to move the ball. I don't even think they have a first down since that drive, and they didn't get a first down that drive either. They ended up having to kick the field goal. So Honaker's defense has responded here after that opening drive. Actually, correction, that was the second drive, I believe, where George Wythe went 80 yards down the field. They've responded and stopped him since then. It's been big for this team.
1:25 to go in the first half. Snavely up the middle, gets the hole in the first down. Just when George Wythe needed it, Justin Snavely gets 13 yards. And now, if you're George Wythe, the tempo can pick up. Because remember, Honaker gets the ball to start the second half. So 10-10 is our score. 1:17 to go in the first half. Both teams have 2 timeouts remaining. They're the yellow dashes below the team names on your screen.
Yeah, I believe you're going to have to start seeing the pass here unless you plan on running 30, 40 yards a clip here.
Hey, Snavely again up to the 36. No timeout from the head coach for George Wythe. That's HSN going his 4th year at George Wythe, 40-10 overall. Played for the 1983 state finalist Wythe team. Actually, one of his assistants was on that team.
And this clock is running. I mean, we're under a minute to go now, about 45 seconds left, and the team is just now coming to the line of scrimmage.
They'll run it with Snavely. And now George Wythe looking content to just run out the clock here. 33 seconds to go, clock running. Honaker's Doug Hubbard doesn't look like he's going to call any timeouts. And there's a George Wythe maroon down to the field at about the 39-yard line, but they'll pick him up. That's actually Snavely, the runner. 20 seconds to go. Here's the whistle to start the play clock, and I don't think George Wythe has to run another play here. It looks like they're going to try to get one last play off. 10 seconds to go in the first half. 3rd and 5. The handoff is to Crockett. And around the near side, gets to the 50, trying to cut back at the 45. And the clock runs out your George Wythe to take 2 timeouts in the half. But what a first half. George Wythe starts moving the ball again at the end of the first half. George Wythe got started early, was up 10-0, and Honaker responds with 10 straight. And we are tied at halftime in the VHSL Group A Division I State Championship. Honaker 10, George Wythe 10 after 1 half. Stick with us. We'll be back with our halftime show. That's after this break. You're watching the VHSL State Championships on VHSLnetwork.com.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot at this.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1.
For more information on how your school can join the Play On School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com.
Oh, she's college material, that's for sure.
You think?
Oh, look at that nose. 4, maybe 5 years, housing, meal plans, fees. Oh, yeah. That nose says, a bajillion bucks in 18 years.
You get all that from a nose?
She's gonna be expensive.
Be prepared for the tuition monster. Visit Virginia529.com and see why it's the nation's largest 529 college savings plan.
Oh my, that chin has grad school written all over it.
Buy a DVD of this or any of the Virginia High School League Championships at VHSLnetwork.com.
Welcome back to Salem, Virginia. It's halftime at the Division I State Championship between George Wythe and Honaker. George Wythe got on top 10-0, and Honaker responded with 10 straight points to tie the game at 10. Alongside Joe Deck, I'm Kevin Burke. Thanks so much for joining us here on VHSLnetwork.com. Also joined by Tim Blank and Ryan Hagan, our crew here in Salem. Well, Joe Deck, an interesting first half. It ends up tied at 10. Your impressions of the first 24 minutes?
Well, again, I think George Wythe came out, like you said, they were on fire in the beginning. They forced turnovers, stopped this Honaker offense immediately. They saved themselves a touchdown after they threw an interception. Saved themselves because it was going to be an interception. Looked like an easy touchdown for them. They get the pick in the end zone with Baltazar, a huge stop, and then they go down the field 80 yards, score a touchdown. Then Honaker gets the ball. They fumble immediately on the first play. But since then, that's when the trouble started. Honaker stops them, 3 and out, forces a field goal. After that, we saw Honaker take the ball, go down the field. It's 4th and long. They get a huge conversion on a pass play to their tailback ball on the smash route, which has been really, I think, the big nail in the coffin for George Wythe so far, giving up that touchdown on a 4th and long. If you can just stop them on a 4th and long, which you would think 4th and 14, I believe, was the situation, you've got to be thinking, if you're a George Wythe fan, all right, we've got them again. We're going to still be up 10-0. Everything's okay. But no, it's a touchdown on that play. Then offensively, you just can't move the ball. We saw a little bit of action there at the end of the first half, but they ran out of time. But since the 10-0 lead, and really since that second drive of the game where they went 80 yards, very few first downs to speak of here from George Wythe. They've really struggled moving the ball, and I think that's going to be a big problem. And we'll see if George Wythe's going to make some adjustments. Honaker's going to make some adjustments as well. But I think if you're George Wythe, I know you're a wing T team, and they primarily run the ball nonstop, but I think you've got to start looking at passing on some first and second downs. This secondary is playing up, and they are not respecting the pass at all.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything from the big tight end for George Wythe. That's Hardy Lester, 6'5", 225-pound senior. He is going to Richmond. So we haven't seen anything from him yet. And as a result, it's 10-10 at halftime. Taking a look at scores from around the VHSL, the odd-numbered championships are going on right now. Here it's Division I. It's 10-10 between George Wythe and Honaker. Division III championships up in Lynchburg at Liberty. Second quarter, Brookville 14 and James Monroe 7. It's being played up at the Liberty Stadium, and this is sort of a surprise to me. I don't know about you. 1 minute to go in the first half. Lake Taylor just scored again, 14-0 on Stonebridge out at UVA. You can watch that one on the ESPN3. You can watch the Division III championships at also on the VHSLnetwork.com as you are watching here. Coming up later today, here we have Essex and Goochland. That's the Division II championship at 4:30 p.m. So here, though, it's George Wythe from Wytheville 10 and Honaker 10. A packed house is enjoying the weather here for a change. I don't remember, when was the last time the weather was anywhere near as good in the first weekend of December in the state of Virginia?
I don't know. I mean, it's been freezing most weeks here in December, but you mentioned these other games going on around. You mentioned Lake Taylor. You're a bit surprised. I haven't seen Stonebridge, so I have no frame of reference with that team, but I did see Lake Taylor last weekend in their state semifinal game. That's a game where they were trailed the first half, and they had an absolutely terrible first half, but they turned it on in the second half and took out North Stafford at North Stafford, breaking those kids' hearts. I mean, that the crowd really felt for them. It's a team that lost the year before in the state championship on a 2-point conversion, and then this year to lose on the last play of the game, a field goal for Lake Taylor to give them the win. Lake Taylor's defense is very stout. They're not going to give you much. Offensively, it's a very fast and athletic team. I mean, they've got speed at every position on the field, which makes them so difficult to defend. And I think that's going to be a great game to watch over there. But we have a great game here as well. I mean, it's 10-10. Honaker, again, has really come back after falling behind 10-0 to tie this game. And I would say there's no doubt in anybody's minds right now, Honaker has all the momentum in the world.
What's the key for both teams here in the second half?
I think for George Wythe, you've got to start opening up those holes again. Get some solid blocks on the outside. I think you might have to look at passing on first and second downs. I mean, this Honaker defense is really not respecting any pass because we've seen 2 pass attempts the whole game. One was an interception, and then the other was a sack. So I think you got to maybe look for a first or second down pass on some play action. It'll be open, I think, because the secondary has moved up into the box. If you're Honaker, you got to keep doing what works. You're more of a balanced attack here than, especially compared to George Wythe. Hall is going to have to keep connecting on key plays for them. I think Ty Hall, he's a great quarterback. We've mentioned that. He's able to run as well, which makes him a very dangerous threat on passing downs. But the thing I've been impressed with is some of the running that they've had open for them. And George Wythe here on the last drive was able to stop that. I want to see if they're going to be able to open that back up out of the power I. It's a very run-heavy formation as well. Both of these teams love to run the ball. The difference being for Honaker, they have about 3 or 4 backs that run for about 500 yards each, where if you take George Wythe, they've got 2 guys, 1,000-yard rushers.
Well, it's 10-10 at halftime. We will step aside and come back for the second half in just a couple minutes. It's George Wythe 10, Honaker 10, and we will leave you with the sounds of the Honaker Marching Band.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Honaker Outdoor Performance Ensemble. Once again, the band is under the direction of Chandler Barton and is represented by Evan Rasmussen. The color guard instructor is Henry Smith. Drum major is John Cole. Band captains include Kathy Howard, Aaron Baldwin, Donovan Hess, and Katie Hale. The percussion captain is Cody Bryant. Color guard captain Marlon Hess and Sean Peck. The duet was by Julia Dodson and Kathy Howard. And the drill instructor is Ronnie Arnold. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for the Honaker Outdoor Performance Ensemble.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot at this.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Alright, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1.
For more information on how your school can join the Play on School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com.
Oh, she's college material, that's for sure.
You think?
Oh, look at that nose. 4, maybe 5 years, housing, meal plans, fees. Oh, yeah. That nose says, a bajillion bucks in 18 years.
You get all that from a nose?
She's gonna be expensive.
Be prepared for the tuition monster. Visit Virginia529.com and see why it's the nation's largest 529 college savings plan.
Oh my, that chin has grad school written all over it.
Buy a DVD of this or any of the Virginia High School League Championships at VHSLnetwork.com. Cowbells ringing as we welcome you back in to Salem Stadium. It's 10-10 at halftime of the Division I state championship game between Honaker and George Wythe. Alongside Joe Deck, I'm Kevin Burke, also joined today by Tim Blank and Ryan Hagan. Thanks so much for joining us here on VHSL Network on playonsports.com. Honaker retaking the field here, about 2.5 minutes until the second half. Very interesting first half as we talked about, Joe Deck. And now it's the key for the second half. Both these teams got their runs in, and now it's going to be who has the advantage in the second half. It's a 24-minute game for the state title.
That's true, and you mentioned that there's just 24 minutes left, one half a play to decide the Division I state championship. George Wythe won one before. Honaker has not won a state title yet. They want to. They've been to one. They came up a little short. This quarterback for Ty Hall, for Honaker, just broke the record for most passing touchdowns set by Heath Miller. So they've got the weapon in the air. They've got Peyton Ball on the ground, one of their many running backs that they use here. He's been able to score already on a passing touchdown. I think it'll be interesting to see if Honaker goes to the ground more this half. I mean, they went primarily on the run. Did try some passes on first and second down, which I think played to their success. On that 4th and long, though, which is the big play of the game, I think, so far. 4th and 14, they connect with Ball, who got behind the safeties, and it resulted in the Honaker touchdown to put them within a field goal, and then a nice kick from their kicker. That's going to be the big thing. Who's got the win in the fourth quarter? And it honestly might come down to that, as close as these two teams are so far.
Well, Honaker deferred to start the game, so they're going to get the ball or the choice here in the second half, which means they're probably going to take the ball. Or they could go unconventionally, and because of how much wind there really is blowing left to right across your screen, they could pick to go with the wind in the fourth quarter. I wouldn't be shocked if they just said, we'll kick off again and then blow it off. I mean, that's how big the wind is. It could be in a 10-10 game. Otherwise, George Wythe is going to have the win in the fourth quarter.
That's true. But I think if you take the ball here, you try to get the lead, and then you're able to – if you get the lead on this George Wythe team, it's going to be hard for them to come back, I think, if it gets beyond one score. Once we get in the realm of 2 scores, it's hard for this team to come back, I think, just because they run the ball almost nonstop here at George Wythe out of that wing T. So they're going to have to – if they fall behind 2 scores, they're going to have to try to switch something up. I mean, we saw the first half run out on them just because they're not a team that throws the ball very often. We've mentioned this during the halftime and multiple times during the game. 2 passing attempts, an interception, and a sack. So it's not been very successful so far today against this Honaker team. Doesn't mean it can't be successful, but I'm just saying we haven't seen it yet from this George Wythe squad.
George Wythe has won 10 in a row since a 28-24 loss to Floyd County back on September 14th. Honaker's only loss this season was back on September 28th, 35-0, but that was to a AA team in Richlands. They've run off 8 in a row. And usually, these defenses are very stout. They both average about giving up 13 points a game. Both teams score about 34 a game. But Honaker played a big-time comeback last week. They scored 41 points in the second half last week against Sussex Central when they were down 26-7. So they're the team that seems to be built for a comeback. They already were down 10-0 and have come back, and they will take the ball here to start the second half. And interestingly enough, George Wythe has the wind in this quarter. So Honaker gets the ball to start the second half and gets the win in the fourth quarter. Interesting how that all finds out. Well, George Wythe in the maroon. They are the Maroons, maroon and gray, and they'll kick off to Honaker, who resembles the Clemson Tigers with the orange, with the white paw print helmet, white jerseys, orange pants. Second half of the D1 championship about to get underway, tied at 10, and here we go. Kickoff by Storms, and he blows it out of the end zone. So now we see Ty Hall, the quarterback for Honaker, has a passing touchdown, his 27th of the season, to break Heath Miller's single-season record. Speaking of Heath Miller, he actually bought the jerseys for this Honaker team. They're sponsored by Reebok. So these nice jerseys for Honaker were actually bought thanks to Heath Miller in part. He's not here. He's up in up in Pittsburgh getting ready for a big game between the Steelers and Chargers tomorrow. But he said he'd be keeping tabs on his hometown Honaker team. Tigers take over, 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. Quarterback Ty Hall in the power I formation. The running back is Peyton Ball behind him. He caught the lone touchdown pass of the first half. Hall looking left, has a man springing out there. He'll throw it. Some contact and a flag. The displeasure of the George Wythe fans matched exactly with the excitement on the other sideline. Pass interference called on George Wythe. The head coach, H.S. Hingo, for George Wythe in his 4th season, saying the ball was uncatchable.
And he is going to be a little frustrated there, but I think we talked about Honaker has been the team that throws the ball more often. That time they went out to the receiver, number 27, Austin Smith, on the out route. Ended up being incomplete. There was pass interference, I believe, on number 2, Reed Kegley, on this George Wythe team here on the near sideline. That's a huge opening play here. It sets him up at the 35. It's a 15-yard penalty here in high school. Not what you wanted here if you're George Wythe on the first play of the half.
Honaker's never won a state title. They lost in 2000 to King William. George Wythe beat Buckingham County in 2002 for their lone state title. 1st and 10 from the 35. Hall looking to pass. Screen far side. Caught by Hess. Makes the first man miss. Then dragged down from behind by Joseph Owens, the senior linebacker.
That's a great job by Hess catching the screen and then getting around Baltazar, who we mentioned had that interception in the end zone for George Wythe. Since then, though, he's gotten burnt a little bit on those screens. He's had trouble chopping his feet and squaring up on Hess. Hess has done a good job running around him, and I think it'll be interesting to see if they keep going to that play over there. Maybe Ty Hall's having more faith in his receiver to make that move on Baltazar.
Both these teams from the western section. Honaker technically the 1 seed because the way the bracket fell. George Wythe in the home jerseys. 2nd and 3, handoff up the middle. And near the first down, approaching the 45-yard line, a pile of defenders. It's very interesting. This is the second year that this has happened, where they've gone from western sections and eastern sections, where 16 teams make it on each side. Then in the semifinals, the 2nd seed in the east goes to play the number 1 west, and vice versa. Well, the number 2 seed in the west, George Wythe, beat the number 1 seed in the east in Franklin. So they're technically the home team, although they're the number 2 seed, but they're both 13-1. They're both power points, and the only difference is that Honaker gets to decide the coin tosses should we have another one. Heck, it's 10-10 with 10.5 to go in the 3rd. 3rd and 1 from the 44 for the Tigers. Big power formation. 3 running backs in the backfield. Hall hands it off, pushing forward and a first down. Still going forward. Looked like he was originally stopped around the 41, but the running back gets to the 44, trying to...
Casey Dye on the carry there for Honaker, and that's a good job by Dye. He found the middle of the field. His offensive line gave him enough of a hole, and then got the push going to get him across that first down marker near midfield. This is going to be a huge, huge drive for Honaker here to start the second half.
Dye.
You want to score here on the opening drive. Get yourself in position to take the lead here against, a George Wythe team that runs primarily. Any chance you can get a lead and put them behind and starting to think about maybe having to pass more is a chance where you take them out of their game plan.
Dye, one of 5 running backs that have between 400 and 600 yards for the Tigers. He gets the carry this time and across the midfield stripe into George Wythe territory. Gain of 2 and 2nd and 8. There's 5 guys on this Honaker team who run the ball effectively. We've seen them all today. It seems like each one of them is getting a separate drive. This time it's Casey Dye, the sophomore, 5'10", 147 pounds, also plays free safety for the Tigers.
Yeah, and on that play, it was a good job by, I think, George Wythe getting in there and stopping Casey Dye after a 2-yard gain. That's going to be big. Again, I mentioned it in the first half multiple times. These defenses have to force 3rd and longs against these offenses. Both teams love running the ball. I would say Honaker is more built to deal with a 3rd and long than George Wythe maybe because they can throw the balls more effectively, but here on 2nd down, we see a play action.
2nd and 8, going deep, and it is caught, a leaping catch. Blake Ray inside the 20-yard line, over triple coverage, but there's a flag back where the pocket was, and it's holding against Honaker.
Oh, that is devastating for Honaker. Absolutely devastating because they connected a great pass to Blake Ray. And I tell you, the thing there was George Wythe really hung with Blake Ray the whole time. I think that speaks to Ty Hall's ability to place the ball and just drop it in there to his receivers. We saw an inaccurate pass on his first attempt that ended up in an interception in the end zone, took 7 points off the board. But since then, Ty Hall has been extremely accurate and has been very effective moving the ball for Honaker. And here on a 2nd and about 18, I believe, he's going to have to be effective here again. I don't think we're going to see another running play here on 2nd and 18.
It's more than 18, too. 2nd and, let's add this up. They're at the 35. They need to get to the 41. 2nd and 24. Hall to pass, and it is almost intercepted. But just think of how big of a play that was. Honaker would have had the ball at the 18-yard line, and instead they have it on the 35. So that's a 47-yard penalty, essentially, although it only counts for 10. But a 47-yard swing in field position.
Yeah, and George Wythe really gets a break there with that penalty. The holding penalty, it helps them out tremendously and puts Honaker in a situation here where now it's 3rd and about 24. Well, now a penalty on George Wythe will give them 5 yards back. So
we didn't see what the penalty was.
Should help them out a little bit here, but I mean, again, it's still 3rd and very, very long. 3rd and about 19.
Actually, it's not going to be 3rd down. It's going to be 2nd down. Because it was a legal substitution, I believe, was the call.
Okay, all right. Well, then, that'll help them out. 2nd and 19. It's still very long, though. If you're George Wythe, this is still nothing to worry about. You have them in a 2nd and very long situation here. You just need to do your job defensively, not allow a big play here on 2nd down to set up a 3rd and manageable.
2nd and 19 from the 40. Shotgun formation for the Tigers. 8:51 to go in the 3rd. Tie game. Hall, the senior quarterback, lets it fly. It's caught, but then brought down immediately is Casey Dye, the running back.
And if you're George Wythe, you'll take that all day. That 1-yard pass and stop him immediately. A great job by Snavely coming up there and bringing him down immediately. The linebacker there for George Wythe, who's been a big play. He's a big fullback, too. He scored the only touchdown for George Wythe. So he's playing both ways, as you said. A lot of these players do here at this, especially at the high school level. The top athletes will play both ways. We've seen Snavely do it. We've seen Ray Blake on the Honaker side do it. But here it's 3rd and about 18 now. That's exactly where George Wythe wants this offense. 3rd and very long. You can stop them, get the ball back, and have your offense take a crack at getting the lead.
Opening drive of the 2nd half. Honaker, George Wythe tied at 10. 8 minutes to go in the 3rd. Snap back to Hall. Immediately rolls left. Now being pursued and sent back at the 33-yard line. The George Wythe defense dropped 4, and the Honaker O-line couldn't handle it. 4th down and a country mile for Honaker.
And Andre Stoker got back there, the senior defensive end, got the sack for George Wythe, along with some other D linemen, some of his other buddies up there. But that time, Hall really had nowhere to go. He rolled out immediately, trying to avoid pressure. He ran into more pressure. So this George Wythe defensive line did a great job getting off the blockers, and creating a dangerous pass rush, forcing Honaker to get the sack and now have to punt it away.
Now Ty Hall is the punter, but this is 4th and 25 from the 34. Low snap, and Hall boots it away into the wind. Nice spiral. Doesn't turn over. It's received at the 31, a fair catch. Great punt into the wind for George Wythe, for Honaker, as it goes from the 34 to the 31. So now George Wythe's first possession, 7:10 to go here in the third.
And I think for George Wythe, it's going to be essential that they score here while they have the wind. You don't want to go into the fourth quarter against the wind in a tie game or trailing. So it's essential that they take the lead here in the third quarter and try to assert their will on this defense from Honaker. We saw it early in the first quarter. They were able to do it on an 80-yard drive. They won't need 80 yards this time. They'll need about 68, and we'll see if they can do it here on this drive to open up the third.
First and 10 from the 32. Snavely met immediately by Bandon Peck. Defensive end off the far sideline. Excuse me, that's number 64, DeAndre Williams.
And so for Williams there, he really got through there untouched, I believe, and just brought down Snavely immediately. That's a huge play for him. And I think that's exactly what Honaker needs. Don't allow these big runs on first and second down. That's what got him in trouble on that 80-yard drive. It was 10, 15 yards a clip on these run plays. Since then, they've been able to contain them.
Second and 12. This is Dominique Crockett. Gets about 5 or 7 yards. It's interesting because George Wythe has had about one good possession. Their touchdown drive. They went 80 yards, about 6 plays. And it looked like they were going to run roughshod through Honaker. But then the Tiger defense stiffened, and they didn't get a first drive in the second quarter until their very last drive with about a minute to go when they ran out the clock. And a big play here for George Wythe just to get confidence back that their offense can move the ball.
And it's a third and about middle range here, 3rd and 6, so anything is still available here for George Wythe.
3rd and 6. This is Skeens near side. Can't even get to the 40-yard line. Stopped short. And it'll force a punt. Good pursuit there from Honaker's number 32, Landon Miller.
And again, I mean, this is exactly what Honaker needs to do. Stop them on the first and second down plays. Don't let them get into 3rd and shorts. You'll be fine. The swing T, it works when you have so many options that you have nothing to do in short yardage situations. You have to pick and hope that you stop them without a 5 to 10 yard run. That time on first down, they stopped him for a 2-yard loss, held him to a 3rd and 6 situation, and they were able to stop him for a short gain on 3rd down. And I mean, that's been the key here since that opening drive.
Ball's picked up at the 14-yard line by Storms. Actually, he called for a fair catch, so that's where it'll be. And a big mistake there from Peyton Ball back there. He was trying to call for a fair catch, but couldn't get the ball, and as a result, a big bounce. The ball goes to the 14-yard line.
And George Wythe's defense here has Honaker's offense pinned deep thanks to Storms, who has done a great job, I think, for the special teams here for George Wythe with the kick that got them up 10-0. And he's done a great job punting, especially when he's had the wind at his back, moving this Honaker offense back as much as he can. But I think for Honaker here, you might see the pass. It worked really well that last drive until that holding penalty, which really killed them. They were moving the ball until that holding penalty.
1st and 10 for the 14 for Honaker. 5:16 to go in the third quarter, tied at 10. Honaker moving right to left in this third quarter into the wind. Power I formation, they hand it off. This is Casey Dye, 5'10 sophomore. Spins his way up to the 18-19 line. And a good gain of about 5 for Honaker on first down.
And it's a solid run. Makes it 2nd and 5, like you said. 5-yard gains. Honaker will take that all day on him. George Wythe has got to do a better job plugging up the line here on first down. Don't allow them to get these 5-yard carries and set them up in positive situations to deal with. I mean, Honaker has been, I think, the better team as a whole. We mentioned George Wythe had that 10-0 lead. Really, all that happened very early in the first quarter. Since then, Honaker has done a great job battling back to tie this game. And as I said, if it's not for a holding penalty, they may have the lead already.
2nd and 5 for the 19. Dye the carry. Around right side and thrown down, number 5, Hardy Lester. It's the first time we've called his name today. Usually, he's the big tight end for George Wythe, but now acting as the defensive end. And again, 3rd down and 5. George Wythe stopped Honaker on their last drive, although again, it was 3rd and 24. But with 4 minutes to go in a very quick moving ball game, this is the third quarter, and both teams run the ball, so there's not a lot of time when you think about it. We just started the second half a little bit ago, and there's 4 minutes to go.
Well, and I think the big thing on that was Honaker loaded up one side of the ball, gave George Wythe an indication of where the ball was going, and their defense did a good job breaking through and penetrating the line.
Here's ball to pass. A screen almost intercepted as it was overthrown. He was looking for Dye, but it's incomplete. There were 2 linebackers that were focusing on hitting Dye, But if they were looking up, there was a ball for the taking and a pick six. So 3 and out for Honaker, and the defense is standing strong after the offense has won the opening part, except for the turnovers, of course. But the defenses have been the key of this game, this 10-10 draw.
And I tell you what, Honaker, you don't want to punt the ball away, but I think the Honaker fans have to be thinking, okay, we got away with one there. That should have been an interception. But the linebackers, as you said, were key in on the receiver, making sure if he did catch it, not that he wasn't going to get a first down.
4th and 5. Here's the punt. It hits at the 43 of George Wythe, and that's where the Tigers will down it. A punt of 37 yards into the wind. So now field position starting to shift just ever so slightly to George Wythe's favor. Honaker starting deep in their own end, and the Maroons getting the ball around the 40, 50-yard line.
And that's a great point. And for a team that's struggled to pick up first down since early on in the game, that's exactly what you need. You need short fields. Right here, they're starting almost midfield again. So I think George Wythe, if they're able to pick up a first down here, even if they can't score, if you pick up a first down, you're pinning them inside the 10-yard line or have an opportunity to if the ball doesn't go into the end zone on a punt.
1st and 10 from the 44 for George Wythe. The quarterback, Jordan Bird, the junior, hands it off to Dominique Crockett. Running back is over 1,300 yards for the senior, and he gets about 1 on first down. Alongside Joe Deck, I'm Kevin Burke. Thanks for joining us on the VHSL Network. Great one here today, the Division I championship. George Wythe 10, Honaker 10.
And Honaker's defense has done, I've been really impressed, Kevin, to be honest. I mean, that 80-yard drive, like you said, I was sitting here thinking, oh, man, they're not going to be able to have anything for this wing tee. But since that drive, they have buckled down, allowed very few first downs. I think, as you said, 1, maybe 2 on that last drive of the first half, but George Wythe ran out of time.
2nd and 8 for the 46. Handoff to Schemes. Honaker pursuing him to the sideline, and Schemes just gets the edge and is lucky to get a yard. That's something that's been interesting. That long touchdown drive that George Wythe had, they were running outside, but they were able to find a cutback lane. Here, they're just running east-west and then running out of time and running out of the sideline. So it's a long run, but you only get about a yard or 2 on it.
Yeah, well, and that's because the secondary has been able to come up and help out against the run. They've been able to spread the run around, keep him running side to side. Don't let him cut it up and get 5, 10 yards. Keep him running side to side. Then, as you said, he had the corner on that play, but by the time he had the corner, it was an easy job to push him out of bounds after a gain of about 2 or 3.
Now we have an official's timeout for equipment. The big tight end, Hardy Lester, taken to the sideline. He's got to figure out something. He's bleeding from his right elbow, so he's out of the game. And so on a 3rd and 7, your best passing target is on the sideline getting bandaged up. Quarterback, Jordan Bird, looking to pass, throwing the far sideline, and it's caught. No, it's dropped. Hit him in the hands. It was a little low, but dropped by Isaac Baltazar. And the Maroons go 3 and out. And now we've become a punting battle here in the 3rd quarter.
And I think had Baltazar been able to haul that in, he still would have been a little short, but it would have been 4th and 1, and you maybe think about going for it then. But again, we saw George Wythe that time go to the pass, and George Wythe's coach got to be a little frustrated there. And I'm sure Baltazar's frustrated himself as well. He's been a great player this season for him, and that time he's just not able to haul it in, and it sets him up here for a 4th down in an obvious punting situation.
Storms to punt. It's a big boot. This one's going to hit at the 1 and go into the end zone. So a great punt will net George Wythe about 30 yards, and there's a flag on the play. I don't see what happened, did you?
No, but the Honaker side is going ballistic, so obviously there was a penalty here, and we'll see. Try to catch it here on the other screen. We can't even, it's not even on our screen here, so.
It looked like there's number 5, Hardy Lester, was involved. 2 flags on the play at the 10-yard line. And a chop block against Honaker is the call. So the Honaker sideline was going crazy for the flag, and yet it's called against them. The flag's at the 10. The kick went into the end zone. So I bet you what happened was they cut blocked Lester. Lester got up and talked to one of the Honaker players. That's when the flags came out. That's why Honaker thought the penalty was on George Wythe. But it's not. It's on Honaker. So the penalty was at the 10, and the ball goes to the 5-yard line. Oh, my.
Yeah. So that'll back him up, the 15-yard penalty there. I think Honaker's coach is going ballistic. He can't believe the call.
Doug Hubbard is irate on the far sideline for Honaker.
And the rules here must be a little different than in the college and pro level, which I'm more familiar with. I'm not familiar with all the rules here at the high school level, but I would have thought maybe half the distance to the goal, but that's not the rule.
But it's from where the penalty was
That's
at
true.
the 10,
That's
so that's
true.
why it's at the 5, not at the 10. First and goal, or first and 10 for the 5. Handoff, and hit in the backfield is Ball.
And here's something to watch for. That penalty is viewed in a lot of football fans' minds as a dirty penalty. That's a dirty thing to do. And so that's going to fire up this George Wythe team. And you've already saw it there on first down. They stopped Honaker for a loss. And it's now 2nd and 11. They're inside their own 5-yard line. They're going to be in trouble. You got to move the ball. You do not want to be punting from the back of your own end zone here, because George Wythe will have even better field position if they don't block it, because your punter's not going to have the full yardage to deal with. And Honaker, we've seen some problems of the snaps getting to the punter. They've skipped along the ground.
2nd and 11 from the 4. Hall under center, takes the snap. Now he's going to pass in the end zone, eludes the safety for a bit, and throws it away. Hall almost went down and absolutely saved it just by a bit. How did he get out of that? He goes down and just puts the ball and the hand down, keeping the knee off the ground and saving a safety for Honaker.
And Hardy Lester can't believe it. He thought for sure he had a sack to bring a safety and give his team the lead and the ball. But a great job by Ty Hall just avoiding the sack. He then tried to throw it, but a good job by him recognizing just get it in the area but on the ground, because there were 2 defenders from George Wythe waiting for that ball to get there so they could take it to the house on the touchdown.
Danger zone for Honaker. Tied at 10. 1:42 to go in the third. It's 3rd and 11 from the 4. You just try and run and get some yardage for your punter here. Heavy formation to the left. He'll hand it off. And a big hole for Casey Dye to the 10-yard line. Gets up to about the 12. So he gets yardage for the punter, but he's about 3 yards short of the first down.
And that was a great drive for George Wythe. It got him fired up defensively. Again, sometimes penalties like that will get a team fired up. And I think maybe that's what we're seeing there. We'll see if that translates to the offensive side of the ball. I think that's been the biggest problem for George Wythe. The defense hasn't necessarily been the problem here for either team. It's been the offenses have struggled to move the ball here, especially on the George Wythe side since early in the first quarter.
So Hall the punt. He's got the wind in his face. Crockett standing at the 42-yard line. Boots it away, a low spinner. Hits the 42, sideways bounce, and now it's going to start taking a maroon roll. And this field position is starting to shift. He said it, it's now shifting. George with ball at the Honaker 41. 49 seconds to go in the third quarter.
Yeah, and we're probably not going to see a score here in the third quarter unless it's an absolutely huge play from George Wythe here on first or maybe second down. But I think the big thing here is you've got the ball deep in Honaker territory. Even with the wind shifting, if Honaker's not able to pick up first downs, this field position is not going to shift again. I mean, right now, George Wythe is winning. They're moving the ball slightly better than Honaker here in the second half. And their punter, Storms, has done a great job pushing Honaker back.
First and 10, the handoff to Skeens. Big hole up the middle. To the 35, the 30. Powering over defender to the 25-yard line. That's the first time we've seen a big hole in the Honaker defense since all the way back in the first quarter.
Yeah, and that time, you mentioned it earlier in the game, when they were running to the outside, they had the cutback lanes. That time, Skeens had the cutback lane. The secondary did not come up. They didn't do a good job spreading him out to the sideline. They allowed Skeens to cut it up and start running north and south, which is dangerous for this defense. And that's a solid run by Skeens and picks up a first down for George Wythe.
Gain of 17. They'll run the same play with Skeens. Has the hole up the middle. Around the right side, and he's tripped up at the 10. Looks like he caught it toe on the turf. A little bit of the turf monster there. Drags down Skeens. But now George Wythe starting to get that offensive motion. First and goal at the 8. 21 seconds to go in the third quarter.
And I think George Wythe sees something on that right side of the field. They've gone there 2 times in a row now, and Skeens has been able to find the hole. He starts going through the middle of the line and is able to kick it outside on him. And that's been the problem. These linebackers don't have the side-to-side speed that Skeens does.
First and goal at the 8. Hand off Skeens, and this time he's blown up in the backfield. Good penetration there by the Honaker defensive end. Trying to get the number on him. I believe it's 66.
Coming this way, Chris.
I beg your pardon? 89, Devin Byers. It's a little scrunched up on the back of his jersey. But that will end the third quarter. No scoring in the third quarter. But George Wythe is knocking on the door. After 3, George Wythe 10, Honaker 10. Back after this on the VHSL network.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1.
For more information on how your school can join the Play On School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/.
Oh, she's college material, that's for sure.
You think?
Oh, look at that nose. 4, maybe 5 years, housing, meal plans, fees. Oh, yeah. That nose says, a bajillion bucks in 18 years.
You get all that from a nose?
She's gonna be expensive.
Be prepared for the tuition monster. Visit Virginia529.com and see why it's the nation's largest 529 college savings plan.
Oh my, that chin has grad school written all over it.
12 minutes to a state title for one of these teams. Tied at 10, George Wythe and Honaker, the Division I state title. Alongside Joe Deck, I'm Kevin Burke. And Joe, Honaker really hurt by penalties in the third quarter.
Yeah, a huge holding penalty took it away from inside the George Wythe 20-yard line, backing them up all the way deep to about their own 30 on a holding penalty, and then nothing going.
Second and goal for the 10 as we start the fourth quarter. Dominique Crockett on the carry. Around on the near side, going for the end zone, leading, touchdown, Maroons!
And that's a great run that time by Crockett. He got to the outside. He had the wherewithal to stretch the ball out, clip the pylon for the score. That is a huge, huge touchdown for the Maroons. Puts them up with about really the first play of the fourth quarter. And that puts them on the board. We talked about penalties, the holding penalty that we mentioned, and then there was a clip on the last time that Honaker had the ball. They clipped on a ball that went into the end zone on a touchback on a punt. That backed them up to their own 5. Really gave George Wythe this great field position that set them up with the touchdown runs set up by Skeens, and then finally Crockett taking it in on the carry.
25th touchdown of the game, or season, for Dominique Crockett. Now the extra point, here's Storms, and it's good. 17-10 our score, 11:53 to go in the fourth. Timeout on the field, we'll take it with them. George Wythe up by 7 on the VHSL network.
Buy a DVD of this or any of the Virginia High School League Championships at VHSLnetwork.com.
Well, we didn't have any scoring in the third quarter, but the first play of the fourth quarter gives us a lead. 10-yard touchdown run for Dominique Crockett, the senior for the George Wythe Maroons. Puts George Wythe up 17-10, and now the Maroons will kick it off. Back to Honaker. You're just joining us. It was 10-0 George Wythe about 8 minutes into this one. They turned 2 turnovers into 10 points. Honaker worked its way back into a tie 10-10. George Wythe has used great field position here in the second half to finally score a touchdown. George Wythe in the maroon jerseys with the gray numbers and gray helmets, and Honaker, the white jerseys, the orange pants, orange numbers, orange helmets, the Tigers and the Maroons. Honaker's never won a state title. George Wythe looking for its second and the first one in 10 years. Here's Storms to kick it away. It's a low squibber, caught by an up man at the 35, and he'll just fall on it, number 81, Casey Harmon. Sort of dragged that one out of midair, and then it was just sitting on the ground between his legs for a little bit. A little bit of a scary moment for a Honaker fan, but this is the best field position they've had all day.
Absolutely, here's in the second half especially, and I think that was the interesting decision there. I know they were kicking into the wind, and that's why they did that line drive squib kick, but it hit an up man, and he's able to corral it to 35, and Honaker by far, I mean, it's not even close that how good this field position is compared to their other drives here in the second half. Now, they've been able to move the ball a few times. That last drive, they went backwards, actually, so they were really in danger of getting the safety at one point on first down on that last drive. But I think Honaker, they're going to have to go to the air here pretty soon. There's still plenty of time left, but that's where they're going to expose George Wythe's defense, I believe, is in the air.
First and 10 for the 35. Ty Hall is the quarterback of the shotgun, and now we have a timeout. Honaker takes a timeout. Their first. Interesting because it was called by the near side official, which is on George Wythe's sideline. 11:49 to go in the fourth. We'll keep it right here during this timeout. Man, we didn't have a lot of action in that third quarter. It was a lot of punts. And first 11 seconds of the fourth quarter have had a touchdown, a squib kick, and now a timeout. And the Maroons of George Wythe from Wytheville, Virginia, have just 430 people at their school, but they have filled this Salem stadium on the near sideline. They're the designated home team. And same for Honaker. The entire town of Honaker, which is about 1,500 people, is here today, apparently. This place sits about 7,500. 6,000, 6,500 at least here?
Easily, yeah. I mean, both teams well represented here by their communities. And, you know, George Wythe, the defense trying to get their team pumped up here and the crowd pumped up. The crowd's come back to life here. They really had nothing to cheer about since early on in the first quarter until just recently, and now they're back on their feet here on the in the George Wythe side.
After the timeout for Honaker, Ty Hall, little miscommunication and down at the 30. He faked the handoff up the middle, wanted to pitch, and saw a maroon in his face and took the 5-yard loss.
Well, not only did he want to pitch it there and saw a maroon in his face, but I think his receiver, his tailback, Peyton Ball, was a little farther ahead than Hall had wanted him to be because he just looked and kind of like, what are you doing? And held onto the ball and ended up getting a sack. If you're George Wythe, though, that's exactly what you wanted. Coming out of a timeout, you got them in a play where they were confused. They didn't know what was going on because you had so much penetration and causing havoc in the backfield to force a second and about 15 almost.
Second and 14 officially from the 31. Power eye for the Tigers. Ty Hall, the senior signal caller, takes the snap, rolling left, and he will throw incomplete. Looked for Jordan Hess on a hitch route, and now it's third and really long for Honaker.
Yeah, and this is not where Honaker wants to be. That time the pass was a little out and far in front of Hess, and he's not able to bring it in. But the bigger thing is George Wythe has done a great job of coverage here in the second half on these pass plays. They've been right there on the receiver's hip side or right behind him waiting for him to catch the ball and bringing him down immediately if they are able to bring it in. It's forced Ty Hall to be very careful with where he throws the ball. If he overthrows him at all, that could have been an interception. If he throws it behind him, it could be an interception. So he's having to throw it a little ahead of his receivers, and they're, unfortunately for Honaker, unable to catch back up and bring it in.
Shotgun package on 3rd and 14. Hall with plenty of time. Now rolling, looking deep, evading receivers, and now finally dumps it off to Dye at the 37-yard line, spun ahead to the 42. Well short of the first down, which was the 45-yard line. But it is 4th and 3 now. You get 11. And if you're Honaker, you could start playing field position now, much like George Wythe did in that third quarter, consistently putting Honaker inside their own 20. And that looks like what Honaker's going to do. Remember, the quarterback, Ty Hall, is the punter. So any fake up here, that's what you got to be thinking. And George Wythe is going to play their base defense with one guy back deep.
Yeah, I think you definitely punt the ball away here. Move them back and try to get some better field position here for the next drive. You have plenty of time still with 10 minutes to go.
Baltazar standing at his own 15, and Hall does punt it away. Hits at the 20. Baltazar picks it up at the 4-yard line. Makes the first man miss. Another spin move and a flag. This is going to come back. An illegal block in the back. Interesting move by Baltazar there. It looked like with the way that ball was bouncing, it could have gone to the end zone, but he didn't want to chance it. So he gets up to the 15, but there's going to be a block in the back here. And I believe on George Wythe.
Yeah, bad news Bears. That penalty happens at about the 10-yard line. That'll back them up to their own 5. And Honaker's offense had to deal with it at their own 5. Here actually going the same direction. Now George Wythe's going to have to do it. It'll be interesting to see if George Wythe is able to find those holes this time or if Honaker's defense is going to be a little extra motivated here. Defenses tend to pick it up when you've got an offense pinned back. They can sense it. They want to get back there. And for George Wythe, a team that really has run the ball exclusively today, you know it's going to be a run. So you're just focusing, making sure everybody's got a man here in the wing T.
Honaker's sideline standing up, trying to make some noise in support of their Tigers. 1st and 10 from the 5. 9:54 to go. Crockett gets the handoff around the right side. To the 15 to the 20, has the edge. Across the 30-yard line and finally brought down to the 40. Dominique Crockett has become the main man for the Maroons here in the second half.
And I tell you what, the difference on that play was Crockett gets past the first wave in the defensive line, and then next thing you know, the secondary there sitting there, he was squared up. Next thing he knows, Crockett's already beside him, and he's going behind him. So Crockett has the great agility and acceleration to get, once he gets past that first wave, to get going. Honaker's got to stop him and slow him down in the first wave. Defensive line and linebackers that are blitzing have got to get a hand on him.
Trey Skeens, the handoff, and he's tripped up in the backfield. And there's an offensive lineman on the ground for George Wythe. See, this is something that Honaker couldn't do. They couldn't move the ball in that third quarter, so they kept putting themselves in bad situations. Whereas George Wythe immediately gets out from underneath its own goalpost with a 34-yard run. And now they can start looking at the clock. Honaker just had to take a timeout, so 9 minutes to go right now. And 2 timeouts remaining for Honaker. Plus, George Wythe just runs the ball the whole time. So
yeah, they're going to eat up the clock by default, yeah.
It's 2nd and 10 for the 39. George Wythe 17, Honaker 10. Maroons have the ball, moving to the right. Trey Skeens, or from the right to the left, I beg your pardon. And Skeens, the sophomore, scoots ahead of the 43. Gain of 4 on the play. And this is probably the biggest defensive play of the game for Honaker. Already down by a touchdown. Your offense hasn't done much today or in the second half. And really, you've done a good job on George Wythe. The Maroons have really had 2 all-or-nothing drives, set up by a turnover and a bad punt.
And I think the other thing here, if you're Honaker, if you don't stop him here, you're looking at least another minute and a half coming off the clock.
At least another 3 minutes probably with the running. 3rd and 6. Crockett around the near sideline, gets a block, but he will be stopped short. Gets to the 47, ball pops out. Was there a whistle? There was. It was pretty sure that Crockett was down. But good job there by number 52 for Honaker. That's the offensive lineman, defensive lineman Chandler Miller, who we've been talking about. Mainly is the offensive lineman. But Miller forced him back inside instead of letting Crockett get the edge. And 4th and 2 brings out the punting unit for the Maroons. If anything, they just flipped field position now.
That's true. I mean, you were pinned at your own 5, and now you've got it out in your midfield, and you're getting ready to punt it away. This has been a good drive for George Wythe.
Storms boots it high into the wind, blowing towards the far sideline. Takes a huge Maroons bounce, and it's knocked down to the 30. The Peter call worked there for Honaker. Randy Horton almost got a bad bounce. And the punt is down to the 32. So here's the situation. George Wythe up by 7, seeking its 2nd state title in school history. Up by 7 with 7:17 to go. Honaker never won a state title. They lost by 10 back in 2000 when UVA product and current Pittsburgh Steeler Heath Miller was the quarterback. Ty Hall has broken Heath Miller's passing records this year as a senior. Honaker is not lost since losing to Richlands back at the end of September. Down by 7 here. Power I for the Tigers. And Hall looking to pass. Only a one-man route. Double move. Throwing deep into triple coverage, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Randy Horton. And there's a flag on the play right at the first down marker. There's a lot of contact and triple coverage, as we said. We'll see what the flag is.
And this is going to be a big penalty if it's on George Wythe. But they're
bringing it back.
They appear to be pointing at
holding on the
Honaker.
defense.
It's defensive holding, so yeah, it'll be first down still. But that's a big penalty. You didn't want that. Obviously, you don't want any penalties, but I mean, Honaker gets bailed out there. It's a one-man route. You had triple coverage over there, and somebody had to grab his jersey to slow him down a little bit so he didn't get behind it, so it results in a 10-yard play on an incomplete pass. 7:10 left, and now you're near midfield already.
So 1st and 10 at the 42 now for the Tigers, after the 10-yard defensive holding penalty. There haven't been a lot of penalties in the game, but when they've happened, they've been huge. Honaker's been hurt by a bunch of them. 1st and 10 for the Tigers, 2 receivers to the near side. Hall hands it off to Ball, and he powers ahead to the 45-yard line, tackled by number 5 for George Wythe. That's Lester.
And that's a 3-yard gain there on first down for Honaker. You'll take that, a 3-yard gain. It's not a bad play by any means, especially here. I think the biggest part of George Wythe's success has been primarily on first down. Holding Honaker to 1 or no yard gains has been part of their huge success so far in the second half. On that play, it's a 3-yard gain. I think Honaker, you're gonna see him go to the air again here, and maybe with more than one receiver. I think that's obviously going to be key. You want the safeties for George Wythe to have to think about which guy they're going to cover.
2nd and 7. 2 receivers, one to either side. Hall's going to pass, looking deep down the far sideline, and this one will be well overthrown. Looking for Jordan Hess.
And there, we saw Ty Hall again overthrow his receiver. Makes me wonder here if Ty Hall's getting a little antsy. He's been under pressure a lot of the time when he drops back. This George Wythe defensive line's done a good job getting in the backfield and causing problems. Maybe he's getting a little too antsy and trying to do too much and overthrows his receiver.
3rd down and 7. Remember how we just said it was the biggest 3rd down of the game about a minute ago? Here's the next biggest. Offset eye for the Tigers. Hall takes the handoff, throws, and it is incomplete. Just over the outstretched arms of the fullback, Jared Shelton.
And again,
4th and 7 at the 45.
Excuse me, that time Ty Hall, under pressure again, had to throw it off his back foot and didn't work out. He missed his receiver again. George Wythe has done a great job getting pressure into Ty Hall's face, not allowing him to sit in the pocket and get comfortable and set his feet before he throws. Ty Hall's been having to throw on the run a lot. That's been key for George Wythe. And again, George Wythe looking at pretty good field position here, depending on the punt. Now, granted, that wind is blowing again pretty hard, so should move him back, but we'll see what Baltazar does. He's a very speedy returner.
Oh, snap. Hall's trying to make something out of nothing. Boots it away with his left foot and misses. It goes out of bounds at the 39-yard line. A low snap, which we've seen problems with. Hall, the quarterback, trying to make something out of nothing, tried to boot it away with his other foot, and that didn't work. 1st and 10, Wythe at the 39.
That was worst case scenario for Honaker right there. I mean, George Wythe now has the ball inside your 40-yard line. They're already up a touchdown, and there's 6 minutes to go. A field goal here does serious damage to any hopes of a comeback. I mean, Honaker's defense has basically got to stop him here with no first downs.
They got to come with a turnover or something. 1st and 10 at the 39 for Wythe. Handoff, Snavely up the middle, big hole. Fumbles the football. Who has it? Big pile up at the 32.
Honaker says they have it, and the referee agrees.
Unbelievable. George Wythe, all they had to do was hold on to the ball. And Snavely had a huge hole and got it stripped. I didn't get the number on who stripped it, but the Tigers force a huge turnover, and they're right back in the game.
And that's the second time Snavely has fumbled. Devin Veers recovering it there for Honaker. And really, that we mentioned, you can't give up any points here. Otherwise, you're looking at almost impossible comeback. First play, okay, we'll strip the ball and get the ball back, get our offense back on the field.
Second turnover of the day for George Wythe. 1st and 10, Honaker. Handoff, and in the backfield, nothing doing. Snavely's second fumble of the day. The first one was recovered by George Wythe. So they've had 2 fumbles and an interception. They've only lost the ball twice. Honaker's had an interception and a fumble as well, which has led directly to 10 of George Wythe's 17 points. So what can Honaker do? Well, they just lost 2 yards on first down. So clock is ticking, 5:32 and counting. At 2nd and 11 at the 36. We've seen Hall try to pass. The thing is, George Wythe has done a good job, and especially because Honaker's only had a 1 or 2 man route. They have everybody keying on one guy. Now they come out shotgun 4 wide. 5:15 to go in the state championship. Hall takes the shotgun snap. Looking for a receiver, throws to the middle, and it is broken up. Good coverage there by Kegley and Baltazar. He was looking for Randy Horton.
This game has been so back and forth momentum-wise as well. I mean, we mentioned George Wythe jumps out to a 10-0 lead. Honaker comes back, makes it 10-10. George Wythe gets a 17-10 lead. Honaker has a bad snap on this punt, sets George Wythe up inside the 40-yard line. First play, Honaker strips it, gets the ball back, and then they go backwards on first down. Second down, a pass looked like it was going to be good enough for a first down, but Baltazar and, again, as you said, for George Wythe, number 2, Reed Kegley, knocking the ball away, forcing a 3rd and long. This is a huge play for Honaker. You have to get at least, I think, getting it to a 4th and 5.
3rd and 11. All rolling left. Looking for a receiver. Throws, and it's overthrown. He was looking for Blake Ray. He had a receiver right at the sticks. And so Honaker can't take advantage of the fumble. And you're at your own 36-yard line, so you can't really go for it here. Because if you don't get it, then you give George Wythe the ball right back at the 35-yard line. So 5:01 to go in the fourth. That turnover essentially just took a minute off the clock for Honaker.
And again, that time Ty Hall not getting his feet set under him. He's on the run, running forward, running toward the line of scrimmage when he let that ball go and overthrows his receiver.
Baltazar back at his own 20, and Hall gets this one away. A spinning ball that hits the 23. Baltazar will watch it. Roll out of bounds at the 14. So Honaker doesn't get advantage of the turnover, but if anything, they flipped the field position again. The ball was at the 36, and now it's at the 14-yard line. So you flip the field about exactly in half, so 50 yards difference.
Well, first things first for Honaker, you got to stop George Wythe here, preferably a 3-and-out to give your offense enough time to do anything in case they get pinned back somehow. I mean, you're punting in, George Wythe would be punting into the wind, so you're thinking, you know, if you hold him to a 3-and-out here, you're probably getting the ball about your own 40, maybe 35. But once they get the ball back, Ty Hall has got to be able to set his feet when he lets go of that ball. His problem has been on the move. He overthrows his receivers.
Dominique Crockett trying to get the edge, and he's dragged down from behind. Almost lost the football. You see it jiggling out there on his right arm. He is forced out of bounds, so the clock, actually he does not. He stays in bounds. Gain of 9. Clock sits 4.5 to go. It's second and inches at the 24-yard line for the Maroons. Clock, there's the whistle, so 25 seconds of the play clock. They can run it down to 4 minutes before the next snap.
And Honaker's defense has got to come up large here. I mean, it's second and inches here after a huge run by Crockett on first down. You have got to get some penetration into that backfield and bring these ball carriers down.
Honaker has 2 timeouts left. You can see the 2 yellow dashes on your screen. Snavely, the handoff, spun around, and powering forward has the first down. That was the most topsy-turvy spinning play. There's some extracurricular stuff after the play. But Snavely had the first down, then went backwards, then goes right back across the first down marker. Clock stops, 3:59 to go. You see somebody lost their helmet for George Wythe. That's Chase Altazar, the senior offensive guard. And a first down, so now you can take about 2 more minutes off the clock, and Honaker's going to have to start using their timeouts. They used one on offense earlier in this quarter, so that's why they only have 2.
And the other thing,
3:50 to go in the fourth.
The other thing there, you mentioned the tailback Snavely getting thrown around. That's because Honaker's going for the strip. They know Snavely's put the ball on the ground twice already. They've been able to recover it once. They're going to try to make him do it again.
And off to Trey Skeens around the right side, across the 30, powering ahead to the 35, has the first down, dragging defenders to the 44-yard line. Trey Skeens gets up, pumping up the crowd here on the near sideline. George Wythe starting to smell a state championship. 3:28 to go, and Honaker can only stop the clock twice.
And I know Honaker wants to try to strip the ball and get the ball back, but you have got to wrap up and bring Skeens down. You can stop them and force them to punt and still have relatively enough time to make some noise here. But you've got to stop them. You can't let George Wythe continue to pick up first downs.
Clock running, 3:15 to go. Crockett, near side, finds a seam and just tripped up, or he could have been gone at the 50. Officially marked down at the Honaker 49. Doug Hubbard, the head coach of Honaker, not using his timeouts here. Clock under 3 minutes to go. It's 2nd and 3. Presumably, Hubbard will try to use it on 2nd and 3rd down. 2:50 to go. That's when the clock was whistled. So George Wythe can take it to about 2:25 here before snapping. The Maroons won a state championship 10 years ago in Division II by beating Buckingham County, looking for state title number 2. Handoff, Skeens up the middle, and a big hit and a stop. Big play for Honaker there, and Hubbard will use his first timeout, or to be his second timeout. That's the key. They used one on offense earlier. So 2:28 to go. 17-10 George Wythe. We're going to take a timeout with him. Back for the exciting conclusion here in Salem. George Wythe up by 7. You're watching on VHSLnetwork.com.
We can get a player up here. Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1.
For more information on how your school can join the Play on School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
2:28 to go here in the fourth quarter. Division I state championship. George Wythe, the Maroons, up 17-10 on the orange-clad Honaker Tigers. 2:28 to go. A big 3rd down and 3. Essentially, this is the ball game if you're Honaker. They don't stop them here. They can only stop the clock once. 1 timeout remaining for the Tigers. 3rd and 3 for the 49. Handoff, Crockett, near sideline, near the first down. Push it across the 46. It depends on the spot.
That's
Maroons
close.
think they have the first down, and it is a first down, George Wythe. 2:16 on the clock. Honaker can only stop it once. And it's going to be tough for the Tigers to get the ball back.
Yeah, I mean, if you stop George Wythe here from here on out, don't give up another first down. You're looking best case scenario, 45 seconds, I think. That's best case scenario.
Assuming there's no turnover.
That's true.
Snavely has fumbled the ball twice today. One went to Honaker with 5 minutes to go in the game. They didn't do anything with it. 1st and 10 at the 46. The handoff is to Snavely. And 2 hands on that football, holding it as tight as he can. He spun to the 45, and Honaker takes a timeout. That's it. So now we can start doing the math. 1:50 to go in the fourth quarter. George Wythe 17-10. The difference in this ball game is a 10-yard touchdown run on the first play of the fourth quarter from Dominique Crockett. George Wythe got up 10-0 thanks to 2 Honaker turnovers in their first 2 drives. The Tigers responded back with 10 of their own. And then George Wythe with the early touchdown here in the fourth quarter. It's been a well-played game for these 2 D1 schools. Of course, one fan base has to go home unhappy that their state championship dream did not come true, but one whale of a ball game between these 2 teams.
Yeah, and I think not only as broadcasters as us up here, but as a fan of football in general, you want to see a close game, especially here at this stage at a state championship level. We've gotten that wish here in the first game, and hopefully in our second game as well we will. But here on 2nd and 9, George Wythe, I expect to see them go back to the outside. They've had tons of success here in the fourth quarter running to the outside, especially on this drive. And the ball's on the ground.
Who has the ball? George Wythe just got on it. Sorry to cut you off there, but that's the only hope Honaker has. Skeens fumbles it and is lucky to get on top of it.
No problem there on the cutoff because that was a huge play. But I think here, again, you're going to see George Wythe try to run to the outside. That's where they've had success this quarter. They tried there, but unfortunately a little miscommunication there on the handoff as Skeens puts the ball on the turf. And Honaker almost gets it, but instead it's going to be another 25 to 30 seconds off the clock.
1:10 to go, 3rd and 13. Crockett gets the ball, running around the sideline, and he will be stopped at the 49, stays in bounds, 1:01 on the clock, and it's ticking. When you hear the referee's whistle, that is 25 seconds from then. Clock is under a minute. They will set it, and there's a Honaker player hurt, and the clock stops. George Wythe fans don't like that, as they're thinking this is a little bit intentional here. But I don't think this is intentional. It looks like one of the Honaker players has a cramp. That's Shea Bunn, the defensive back. So 50 seconds to go on the clock. So the 25-second clock will start immediately.
But here's a question I have for you. I don't know what the rule here in high school is. I know in college and the pros, when you don't have timeouts and it's in this situation, there's a runoff associated with this. Now, I don't know if that's here at the high school level either. And that's to deter, players from dropping. And I'm not saying this player is dropping. He appears to be in some real pain here.
Well, also we've seen something. I saw it recently in the NFL and also in college. There's that hidden 4th timeout that you get when the clock's running in the fourth quarter. You get that hidden 4th timeout that can be used only once for injury in the last 2 minutes. I don't think it's available here to the Tigers, but we'll see because the clock was already running. And if anything, this is just letting Honaker set up its punt defense. 50 seconds to go. George Wythe up by 7, and it's a 4th and 13 at the 49. Remember, George Wythe is punting into the wind, although their kicker, Andrew Storms, a senior, has been very good today. But they're going to need, or the Honaker Tigers are going to need to get a return as the injured player Shea Bunn gets up. Yeah, this is not any. He's just crampy. You can see him. He was just standing up at one point and then just fell down. Obviously, the signs of a cramp there for Shea Bunn, a junior outside linebacker for the Tigers. So when the whistle blows, the clock will run. And you got to think George Wythe could take a timeout and 25 seconds to go. So if you're a Honaker fan, you've got about 15, 20 seconds.
Yeah, and you're probably going to have to go about 80 yards.
And you're down by a touchdown.
Yeah, so you need 80 yards to get in the end zone with about 20, 25 seconds left. It's not looking good. You have no timeouts. I think the biggest problem here has been Ty Hall has not been able to set his feet here in the second half when he gets ready to throw. That results in him overthrowing his receivers by a good 10 yards.
So the return man looks like Randy Horton, number 8 for Honaker. Just to clarify, that is Horton. So Bunn hops off the field. There's the whistle. Clock runs. George Wythe is just going to stand in the huddle and let it count down. 25-second play clock. So Wythe will take a timeout with 25 seconds to go. All Honaker can do is look at the scoreboard and which they're defending. Maroon fans are excited. They're clapping, shaking those cowbells, as I'm sure you can hear. There's the timeout with 26 seconds to go. That's the Maroons' first timeout. George Wythe is 26 seconds away from his second state title. If you're a Honaker fan, you need a miracle.
And I think here for Honaker, you're going to see them go deep. And if you're George Wythe, you're going to see them give Honaker anything 10 yards or shorter. They're going to give it to him. And you're going to see about 2 or 3 guys play so far back that there is no way a guy from Honaker should be able to run by him.
And remember, the clock does stop in high school football on first downs. So the middle of the field's open if you can get up and spike it, but you got 26 plays, and the last thing you want is something from Alabama, Georgia, where you get to the 5-yard line and run out of time.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think here, as you mentioned, the clock stops on first downs, but if you're in the middle of the field, you got to get those players up there and set before the official sets the ball for that to be really effective. Otherwise, you're still losing time.
So here we go. 4th and 13 at the 49. Andrew Storms the punter. Honaker will put 10 guys up the line. Horton, Randy Horton standing back at his own now 6-yard line. Here's the snap. Here comes Honaker, and Storms boots it away. It hits at the 18-yard line. It'll roll sideways, and George Wythe will just let it sit at the 11-yard line. 89 yards, 16 seconds for Honaker.
Yeah, it's not looking very probable for Honaker. It's not impossible, but you are going to need, as you said, a bit of a miracle here to come back and tie this game, or possibly win it if you decide to go for 2. And I'm telling you, if you can get a touchdown in this situation, I don't know why you don't go for 2. You've got to be feeling great about your chances if you just went 89 yards in 16 seconds.
I don't believe Ty Hall has completed a pass in the second half. My memory serves me right. We don't have the official stats up here, but the only pass I can remember him completing is the touchdown. 3 receivers to the top. There's a defensive back standing at the 40-yard line for a win. 16 seconds to go. Snap back to Ty Hall. A quick screen out to the far side. And now this is Ball starting to run. Gets to the 22 out of bounds. Clock down to 10 seconds. So they get 9 yards and waste 6 seconds.
You'll take that. You obviously, anytime you get more yards than seconds come off the clock, you'll take it. But again, another 9-yard gain that loses 6 seconds will put you at the 30. Let's see, he's at the 22 now, so that'll put you at the 31 with 4 seconds, and you still got forever to go there in that situation. 69 yards. I think you might see the screen, a little hook and ladder. You're going to have to see some trickeration here, I believe, if you're going to see a Honaker touchdown.
2nd and 1, but that's not really important. 10 seconds is what is important for the Honaker Tigers. Down by 7 to George Wythe. Hall in the shotgun, takes a snap, looking right, facing pressure, and he will be sacked. That'll do it. The George Wythe Maroons
have won the state championship.
And that was a huge, huge play for George Wythe. Number 70 coming away with the sacks. Darnell Williams seals the state championship for George Wythe in a game where they did not give up. They had a 10-0 lead. Saw their lead disappear before their very eyes and came back with a huge score in the first play of the fourth quarter to take the lead, and they didn't give it up.
Head coach H.S. Hingo gets the Gatorade bath, goes to his knees and puts both hands in the air. The George Wythe Maroons have won their second state championship. Final score, George Wythe 17, Honaker 10. The Maroons are in the center of the field celebrating. Honaker stunned on its sideline. They will fall to 13-2, state semifinalists for the second time, or state runners-up, I beg your pardon, for the second time in school history. They'll still need another year before they find their state title. We will step aside, come back to the trophy presentation. George Wythe wins Division I in 2012, 17-10 over Honaker. Back after this on the VHSL Network.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot at this.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1.
For more information on how your school can join the Play on School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/.
Oh, she's college material, that's for sure.
You think?
Oh, look at that nose. 4, maybe 5 years, housing, meal plans, fees. Oh, yeah. That nose says, a bajillion bucks in 18 years.
You get all that from a nose?
She's gonna be expensive.
Be prepared for the tuition monster. Visit Virginia529.com and see why it's the nation's largest 529 college savings plan.
Oh my, that chin has grad school written all over it.
Buy a DVD of this or any of the Virginia High School League championships at VHSLnetwork.com.
George Wythe wins the Division I state championship here in Salem. Final score, the Maroons 17, the Honaker Tigers 10. A great game here in Salem. George Wythe gets a touchdown in the first play of the fourth quarter. They win their second state title in school history, going along with their 2002 state championship. Back inside the broadcast booth alongside Joe Deck, I'm Kevin Burke. Thanks to our crew today, Tim Blake and Ryan Hagan, the guys behind the scenes, making sure the graphics and shots look good on our screen. And Joe Deck, your thoughts here as we get ready for the trophy presentation?
Well, before we get to the trophy presentation, we're going to finish up with our final thoughts here. And again, my thoughts are, what a great game. I mean, George Wythe jumps out to a 10-0 lead, mainly on Honaker turnovers. Honaker finds a way, digs deep, battles back to tie the game up, and it was 10-10 throughout the third quarter. First play of the fourth quarter, it's a touchdown, and it ends up being a great win for George Wythe.
So we will step aside and give you the public address announcer for today's trophy presentation.
Aiden Horn. Number 7, Bryson Boxick. Number 8, Randy Horton. Number 9, number 10, Jacob Brown. Number 12, Blake Gray. Number 13, Jordan Smith. Number 16, Jay Budd. Number 18, Peyton Ball. Number 20, Brent Coleman. Number 21, Harold Thorne. Number 23, Cody Lester. Number 25, John Rickey. Number 27, Austin Smith. Number 31, Jared Shelton. Number 32, Brandon Miller. Number 33, Mackenzie Phillips. Number 34, Casey Dye. Number 37, James Johnson. Number 39, Marshall McLaughlin. Number 44, David Owen. Number 45, Dan Ratliff. Number 50, Jordan Hardy. Number 51, Aaron Stevens. Number 52, Chandler Miller. Number 53, Abraham Charlie. Number 54, Brandon Peck. Number 55, Dakota Stevens. Number 56, Peyton Stevens. Number 57, Joshua Dye. Number 58, Colby Vanover. Number 59, Brady Plaster. Number 60, John Ray. Number 61, Jacob Dye. Number 62, Craig McLaughlin. Number 63, Joshua Miller. Number 64, DeAndre Williams. Number 65, Jordan Phillips. Number 72, Alex Smith. Number 74, Jerome Williams. Number 75, Dave Lester. Number 78, Ryan Simmons. Number 80, Chandler Honaker. Number 81, Casey Harmon. And number 89, Devin Meyer. The Tigers head coach is Doug Hubbard and assistant coaches Terry Cohen, Adam Hubbard, Donovan Hilton, Tony Bailey, John Dye, Andrew Dye, Cameron Shelton, Joey Beavers, Wilbur Johnson, John Barty, Brian Whitehead, Trevor Colvin, and Chris Anderson. Congratulations once again to your Division I runner-up, the Tigers from Honaker High School. And now, congratulations to the Maroons from George Wythe High School. VHSL Assistant Director Tom Bowen, assisted by George Wythe Principal Ricky Sheen and Athletic Director Rusty Beamer. And now your team for George Wythe, your state champions, number 1, Dominique Crockett. Number 2, Lee Kedley. Number 3, Isaac Balthazar. Number 4, Jalen France. Number 5, Harvey Lester. Number 6, Jason Owens. Number 7, Grace King. Number 8, Elijah Oak. Number 10, Justin Snavely. Number 11, Jordan Bird. Number 11, Alex Willick. Number 15, Darius Moore. Number 19, Josh Duncan. Number 20, Douglas Little. Number 21, Cody Childers. Number 22, John Nick Saliba. Number 23, Ethan Dean. Number 24, Andrew Storm. Number 25, Rashawn Wells. Number 26, Holden Colley. Number 30, Monpreet Phillips. Number 31, Jaron Phillips. Number 32, Tyler Harden. Number 33, Jordan Atwood. Number 34, Nathan Dickinson. Number 35, Tyler Matthews. Number 40, Jake Pullen. Number 41, Robert Watson. Number 42, Kevin Lake. Number 43, Greg Cook. Number 45, Charles Cook. Number 50, Paul Shipley. Number 51, Cody Surratt. Number 52, Nick German. Number 53, Coleman Dove. Number 54, Andre Sosa. Number 55, Neil Casey. Number 56, Noah Gilman. Number 58, Stephen Fox. Number 60, Brandon Blair. Number 62, Jake Altizer. Number 65, Jacob Brewer. Number 66, Jacob Dean. Number 68, Jordan Anderson. Number 70, Darnell Williams. Number 72, Justin Height. Number 74, Justin Minnick. Number 75, Stephen Shipley. Number 76, Anthony Harlan. Number 77, Travis May. Number 79, Justin Chanel. Number 81, Jake Rosenbaum. Number 82, John Smith. Number 84, Daniel Patton. number 85, Aaron Baker, and number 87, Andrew Walker. The assistant coaches are Jeremy Shelton, Steve Day, Bob Wilford, Pete Pitt, Joey Russell, Bradley Sexton, Adam Hughes, Ray Bradshaw, Al Simona, Scotty Dove Doctor, and your head coach of your state champion, H.S. Ingo. Congratulations to your VHSL Division I state champion, the George Wythe Maroons.
Back in Salem, George Wythe celebrating on the 50-yard line. There, your 2012 Division I state champions by the final score of 17-10 over Honaker High School. It was a great game between these two teams. George Wythe got out to a 10-0 lead, saw it evaporate before their own eyes, and then a fourth quarter touchdown, the first play of the fourth quarter, from Dominique Crockett gives H.S. Ingo and the George Wythe Maroons their second state title. For Ingo, it's his first state title in his fourth year as head coach of George Wythe. So that'll do it for our broadcast today here from Salem. We hope you enjoyed it. For all of us here with the VHSL Network, our cameraman Ryan Hagan, our graphics department Tim Blank, my color guy Joe Deck, my name is Kevin Burke, giving you the final score for the final time today. George Wythe wins the Division I state championship 17-10 over Honaker. Make sure to stay tuned here for the VHSL Network. Coming up at 4:15, the Division II championship between Essex and Goochland here at Salem Stadium. Until then, good afternoon from Salem.